White. Wide open, Torrence! Oh, baby! Touchdown! How do you leave the best receiver in the NAIA that wide open?
You show, and that's what we do! Cat!
You're proud of me?
And it's caught! Oh my goodness! Troy Torrence comes down with it!
Welcome all to Bankroll Blitz right here on Pub Sports Radio, Week 14, awaiting breakdowns. Happy Tuesday, December 3rd to all of you. Troy, we're coming off our best week combined, 27-12. We went combined plus 14.26 units in Week 13, which means we start Week 14, and for the first time in our history, because I let us down last year. The first time in our history, we started a show with both of us up double-digit units, and it feels good. I'm on a big winning streak week to week to week. I haven't been talking about it. I'm not going to mention exactly where I'm at, but we're running in the right direction here, and it feels very good. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing great, man. Can't wait to get it. There's so much work to do on this card. There's so many games I still want to dig a little bit more into, but Jimmy, what we're doing here, it's special, man. It's special. I mean, I got the feeling around week 6, week 7 that we're really starting to feed off each other, you know? I think that's only going to continue. I think we only continue to stack, and it's very important. So let's get to work, man.
Let's get right to work. We'll do a quick review of what happened last week. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. We got Omer Gaudet joining us from France. It's a 2 a.m. start in France. We respect your hustle. We have the truth teller ready to get to work. There's Pipe Layer in the house. It is great to see you. Gerald Jones ready to deliver the nuke worker. We got Dougie Wise, Spenny Penny Bombs, an absolutely great group here. Gerald Jones says week 14, 5 weeks left. It is hammer time. It is certainly hammer time, and that's exactly what you did this past week. 20-8. You went plus 11.7 units, which puts you up 13.27 units on the season. You did excellent work. Player props were cashing for you. You started on Thursday. You had a monster Thanksgiving. Gibbs over 71.5 rushing. Lost to Jameson Williams receiving, but cashed Caleb Williams over passing. Cowboys -3. Cowboys -3.5. Cowboys money line. Detroit, Dallas cashed. Dallas, Miami plus 8.5 fell through. Miami losing by 13, but then right back to the Green Bay, Miami under 47.5, Raiders plus 12.5, Raiders plus 13. Lost on that KC Raiders over 42.5. I was pretty bullish on that bet, and I was on it too and lost. Jaguars plus 5, Jaguars team total over 19.5, and you lost Jaguars money line. You cashed Cardinals plus 3.5, Kyler Murray over 247.5 passing rushing.
Thanks to Birdie. Thanks to Birdie right there.
Yeah, I got on the rushing prop. It was funny when I was betting it, it went from 24.5 to 23.5, which is generally, as you guys know, prop's a bad sign, and that cashed within about 20 minutes of game time. It was very, very easy. The X's and O's made so much sense. It didn't matter what was happening in the marketplace. Shout out to Birdie. Patriots plus 3, you cashed. New England plus 8.5. Arizona plus 9, you cashed. You lost to Jets, Seattle under 42.5. 517 total yards in that football game. And it went to 42.
And like 4.1 yards per play, 2 defensive touchdowns. It was travesty. Yeah.
It was unfortunate. Panthers plus 6, Panthers team total over 19.5. Then you took Carolina team total over 16.5, tied it with Jacksonville team total over 16.5. That might have been your sharpest bet of the whole week at plus 123. That was a thing of beauty. We lost that Baltimore Philadelphia first half under. Full game goes way under. It was unfortunate. Rams money line, Rams -3 at plus 105. You cashed both of those, and then you lost the 49ers plus 6.5 and lost Broncos team total under 24.5. A 20-8 performance from you. Very impressive.
I made 2 mistakes there at the end of the week because I guess the 49ers, I won't call it a mistake. The Broncos, if you go back and watch the video on Broncos Browns, I'm talking about the over. I'm talking about the Broncos. And here I am on the Broncos team total under. I just a complete. I don't know. I lost it at the end of the week.
It's funny. I went back to that video too. It's like, because I live bet the under twice, once at halftime, once at third quarter, lost them both, just $100 pops. But I went back and looked, and I was like, what am I doing? Our whole breakdown was Broncos in the over, so That was disappointing, but great week. 20-8 plus 11.7 units for you. I went 7-4. Started poorly. Lost Miami plus 3.5. Cashed the under 47.5 in that one, but then our strongest look: Carolina plus 6. Carolina team total over 19.5. Carolina Tampa over 46.5. So many things went against us in that game. That should have been a no sweat casher in every regard, but we got them all. Las Vegas, Kansas City over 42.5 was a loser. Jacksonville plus 5 cash. Philadelphia, Baltimore first half under 24.5 lost. Arizona plus 3.5 cash. San Francisco, Buffalo under 44.5 lost by a half point. Which is too bad. But I live bet it twice and cashed both. I also live bet the Raiders KC over 33.5 at halftime at plus 100 for a full unit. Which covered that. Obviously doesn't count for our records here, and then Kyler Murray over 23.5 rushing yards. Shout out to Birdie once again. We got Slatsy in the house. Great to see you, Slatsy. Harold Williams ready to get to work. Jared TG says coming off a 9-3 week himself. There was a ton of winners from our squad. Feels like we're all in this together, delivering together, cashing together, running well together, and we must keep it up.
After a 4-16 start in the Cappers contest, I finally moved with a 5-0 week to 33-32 on the season,
which is not as dramatic as me, right? I started 1-14. I was getting embarrassed. I was being publicly made fun of. I'm now 32-33. So I've come all the way back from 1-14. Not only that, in the Circa Millions, Pub Sports Radio swept the board 5-0. We're 37-27 now, 10 games over 500, starting out the final quarter with a 5-0. A lot of excitement for our Thursday Cappers contest show. I hope you guys can join us. Again, that's a members-only show, but I hope you guys can join us for that. Dougie Wise running nice free bands plays of the day. Started this season all documented on Twitter. Respect, Dougie Wise. Love to see it, man. Let's get to work. Thank you guys for being here. It is time to continue what we're doing here. And that is succeeding, working together, finding the right angles, and beating the book. So are you ready for game one, my friend?
Let's get to it.
We start Thursday, December 5th, 8:15 p.m. Eastern. This is not a very good-looking slate of games, but there's a couple bangers, and this is one of them. Shout out to Ziggy Balls in the house. Green Bay Packers 9-3, 4-1 on the road. Detroit Lions 11-1, 5-1 at home. We're at Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan. Let's get into the line history to get us started. We have a market that is continually moving towards the Packers, and we have our first threes on the board now. We even have threes that aren't plus money on the Packers at +3. So a real big move towards the Packers. The look-ahead line was 6 as well. This opened up at 4. The 4 was juiced to the Lions. That moved 5 cents in the first 3 minutes. It moved another 7 cents in the next minute. I mean, this was a very, very brisk move. It took about an hour for this to move to a 3.5. This 3.5 was immediately minus 108 juice towards the Packers. That's now up to minus 120. A very, very big move towards the Green Bay Packers. The line came out. We talked about it yesterday. It was very fishy. It's impossible not to look at the Packers at that line, but I wanted to deep dive on it instead of moving right away. And it was okay. You know, if this kept moving towards Green Bay and that was the side I ended up on, I was okay with that. I could just let it go. This total opened up at 51.5 as slightly juiced to the over. It's now juiced to the under. So we've had 7 cents of movement towards the under. Let's get into the cash flow for this one. Our Thursday nighter right here on Pub Sports Radio for our live bet stream. Only 45% of the tickets and 44% of the cash is on the Packers. So it's clearly sharp money moving this line. 55% of the tickets and 65% cash on the over, and it's dropped a little bit here. Jim Dewigger says, loving the over in Lions Packers here. Dougie Wise on the Packers plus 3.5 at minus 115. Let's start with the Packers. Passing offense, 8th in the league. They get 233.9 yards per game. Rushing offense, 5th, 148.5. It was interesting. There's somewhat struggles running the game in the frigid temperatures. They didn't run it as successfully as I thought as they would have against Miami. Red zone offense, 15th. Third down offense, 16th. Passing defense, they're 17th. They allow 217.3 yards per game. Rushing defense, 8th. They allow 106.6 yards per game. Their red zone defense hasn't been very good this year. They're 20th, 59%. Their third down defense, 11th. They allow conversions 35% of the time. Both teams are playing their third game in a 12-day stretch. Let's start with that. Let's just start with that and ask you about that, Troy. Third game in a 12-day stretch. These guys, it's such a violent sport. It's so intense. Are these guys going to be less than in this situation? Is there going to be more sloppiness? Is there going to talk to us about what it's like to play 3 games in a 12-day period?
I don't know what it's like to personally play that many games in a 12-day period, but I couldn't imagine actually doing it. I've had full weeks of rest before every game, except for the rare occasions where there's a 6-day, between time. But here's the thing is they're coming off a typical week, a full 7 days from last Thursday to this Thursday. Mm-hmm. But I would have to agree with you. Like, there's got to be some wear and tear, especially with the veterans, the older players.
It seems extremely difficult. Packers coming off their 7th win in 8 games, 30-17 at home over the Dolphins in frigid temperatures. Jordan Love was in complete control. 21-28, 274 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. The offensive line didn't allow him to get sacked once. Tucker Kraft led receivers with 6 catches for 78 yards. Josh Jacobs ran 19 times for 43 yards and a touchdown while catching 4 for 74. The defense only allowed 39 yards and 1 first down on the ground. They held the Dolphins to 4-14 on third down, 2 of 4 in the red zone. The pass rush was dynamic. 5 sacks, 6 quarterback hits. Romeo Doubs missed the game with a concussion, but is practicing. He should be clear through concussion protocol. He's expected to play this week. Corey Ballantyne, a defensive back, linebacker Edgerrin Cooper, and guard Elton Jenkins have not practiced this week. They're listed as questionable, but they have not been on the field yet. Let's talk about these Detroit Lions. 10 straight victories. Passing offense, 5th in the league. They put up 240.8 yards per game. Rushing offense, 4th, 154.4. What a dynamic duo that is of Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Red zone offense, 6th. 66%, third down offense, 4th at 45.7%, pass defense, 25th, 226.8 yards a game they allow through the air. We battled with people about their pass defense. Their safety play is very good. Their cornerback play has not been as good. In fact, Pro Football Focus has graded out as pretty poor. Rush defense 5th, allowing 93.5 yards per game. Red zone defense 2nd, only allowing touchdowns 41.9% of the time. And their third down defense 1st, only allowing conversions 31.7% of the time. Lions coming off their 10th straight victory. Underwhelming 23-20 win at home over the Bears. Jared Goff was 21-34 for 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Amon-Ra St. Brown led receivers with 5 catches for 73 yards. And the running game just dynamic. Montgomery ran 21 times for 88 yards, caught 3 for 36. Jahmyr Gibbs ran 9 times for 87 yards, caught 2 for 17. He did lose a fumble. The Lions offense put up 405 yards, but just 5 of 14 on third down, 2 of 5 in the red zone. They opened the game with 4 straight scoring drives while completely shutting down the Bears, and the Bears are still in the game. Only 16 points to show for it. The defense held the Bears to 7-17 on third and fourth down. They only allowed the Bears to have 1 trip to the red zone on which the Bears scored a touchdown. This pass rush continues to be strong despite injury after injury after injury. Season-ending injuries to Marcus Davenport, John Kaminsky, Aiden Hutchinson, Kyle Payco. Now, Hutchinson could be back if they reach Super Bowl. Alex Anzalone, Derek Barnes. And then they had more injuries during the game. Defensive end Josh Paschal, defensive lineman Levi Onwuzurike, and defensive lineman Mekhi Wingo were hurt. Paschal and Onwuzurike haven't practiced this week. They're listed as questionable, but Wingo done for the year. He already had surgery on his knee. Despite all of this, 5 sacks, 10 quarterback hits, they lose another linebacker. Malcolm Rodriguez leaves the game with a knee injury. It's a torn ACL. He's done for the year. Ezekiel Turner, Quan Alexander, and Ben Neiman are now the next group of linebackers that they're deciding to play alongside Nowaski and Campbell. I just don't know how they keep doing it. And I can understand this line moving towards the Packers. You can still pay the juice on a 3.5 if you want it. But I wanted to cap this game out, hear everybody in the chat, and hear you as well. Take it away for us, Packers, Lions, and Ford Field, Detroit, Michigan.
Man, there's a lot to unpack in this game. I've been waiting for chances to say this every week, and a lot of the stuff I do say in all my shows after week 8 have been pretty much the same because by this time we know what these teams are. I've been waiting for opportunities to fade this Packers team, and I think this is the opportunity. I believe the Packers have put 2 games back-to-back that were pretty impressive wins. But when you actually look at what they've done coming off this W2, they're situationally flawed spots in some way, shape, or form. The Dolphins in the cold, I know that Tua kind of outperformed expectations in that one, but still the Dolphins in the cold, that's definitely a thing. And the 49ers were absolutely in shambles. And I talked about this all season. Jordan Love, you watch this man on film, he's missing reads, he's missing throws. He has his turnover-worthy play percentage is up 50% year over year. His touchdown to interception ratio is up. Down significantly year over year. This is just a quarterback experiencing massive regression in his second year as a starter. And we're seeing this around the league. All the quarterbacks in their second year are struggling. This defense this Packers defense is vulnerable outside of the secondary, which I think is pretty solid. I do like some of the stunts and some of the way they scheme pressure with their defensive line, but at the same time, there's a lot of ways you can take advantage of that, especially if you're a predominantly rushing team. And I understand the Lions have numerous issues, right? They have injuries all over the field, and they struggle to cover spreads in the division historically. But I still like the setup for the Lions. And we were talking in the chat a little bit while you were talking, Jim, about the Bears. I think it was Dougie, a couple people talking about the Bears, how the Bears should have beat the Lions. Well, I kind of disagree with that because it was 16-0 with under 2 minutes to play. Gibbs fumbles in the red zone right before half on a first down carry. That changed the entire complexion of the game. It gave the Bears hope at halftime. And then, later in the game, the Lions missed a key 45-yard field goal, which made a huge difference down the stretch. It just makes me think. And then also think about the Packers and what they did what they did against the Bears. I have this game up right in front of me right now. The Bears went 9 of 16 on third down against this Packers team. The Bears. The Packers in that same game only went 20% on third down. The Bears outgained them by about 35 yards. I mean, there's a lot of ways that's not the case against the Lions. The Lions outgained them by over 100 yards and yards per play, all that. Like, I feel like the Lions' performance against the Bears was better than the Packers' performance against the Lions. You also have the home favorites on a short week, which has been a profitable trend for multiple seasons at this point. And you have the Lions' ground game against this defense. I don't want to let the metric you gave is their 7th or 8th in opponent yards per carry. I feel like that could be very misleading because PFF grades them out as 22nd. And if you adjust for the strength of schedule, what teams have they played against really run the football? All the teams that did averaged over 4 yards per carry, at least the running backs did. So I don't think that this run defense, and if you know the Packers, I mean, they're a lot like the Bears in that standpoint where some of the numbers could be misleading because against good rushing attacks, they give it up. So, I think that this opener too, spreads that open between 3.5 and 4.5. Home favorites between 3.5 and 4.5. Let's talk about this real quick. Those teams, 3.5 to 4.5, 41 and 32 ATS. So that's a profitable trend to just back the home team anytime they open in this range. And the line movement in this case is only 45% accurate. So let's take this a step deeper. That sample, if the total is greater than 44, indicating there's going to be a lot of points, a defense, one or the other, is very vulnerable. Well, the home team is 19 and 9 ATS in that sample. That's 68%. Now, the last variable in this is if the game's in division. What happens in this situation? The home team is 9 and 2 ATS, and the line movement is only 33% accurate. This is where I respect this type of situation where I respect the line open more than the line movement. Now, unless we go through the three, through three and it starts juicing towards 2.5, I'll feel very concerned with my action. But I did just move. I put $500 on the Lions -3, and I feel pretty confident in it.
Wow.
And I know, this seems like a very good spot, but there's this sentiment about the Packers being the right side in this matchup, and we've seen these types of sentiment games outside of the Steelers as dogs, just fall apart for teams. And I think that's what's going to happen here.
Wow. What a very interesting breakdown. What was the juice you got on the Lions -3?
-120. Which I think is I got it during the show. So it's widely available. And I expect that to be at a pick 'em here in 24 hours, I would say. But do you see it juicing towards? I don't see it going past the pick. And if it does, I'll start to feel. If it closes 2.5, I'll be like, I'm not going to play the other side. I mean, I was doing some of the math on it actually after you were talking about taking the middle. Now, there's different situations where you take the middle, but just looking at spreads were like this spread 2.5, 3. There's 12 games where a home team is opened -2.5 and closed at -3. That home team's 8-4 ATS, 9-3 straight up, and not once in that entire 12-game sample did it ever land on 3. So I hear some sharps and some pros talking about, oh, I like this number, I like this team at 2.5, but I like the other side at 3. That makes no fucking sense to me.
Wow. Very, very interesting. Lions -3 at -120 from Troy. I'm going to need more time to sit with this game. Omer very confident in the Packers here. A lot of cappers also confident in the under in this one.
Omer, take it easy on me if the Lions lose, please.
This total at 51.5, it's very high. It's moving towards the under. What do you think of the total at 51.5 here?
I think that the under is 100% in play. I was doing a little bit of research on this morning when I had some time to look at this game. This is 4 a.m. in the morning, and the first thing that stuck out to me in this game is the total, because totals in prime time of 50 or more, over 47 in general, they go under at a high rate. Now it's kind of been coming back. That trend has kind of been coming back lately. But then you look in division, and it gets just even more strong. Like, there's so many reasons to like the under in this matchup, especially because, I think the Packers have the highest run percentage in the NFL. So we expect both teams to run the ball, both teams to be effective to some extent between the 20s. I feel like it sets up perfect, especially with this high total.
I'm interested in the under. What has kept you off of betting it right now? Do we think like all of these standalone games that even if this goes down to 50, that, the 2 hours leading up to kickoff, it's going to start shooting back up again as the public hammers the over?
51 so key, such a key number though, that's the number you want. If you're getting a 51.5 to 51, even, like, I would hate to come back and it's one of those situations where it just feels worse, even though it's not that much more significantly worse, the 51, the 50.5, but we probably shouldn't wait. Like, if you want it, you should grab it now. I kind of do want it. I'm going to have to consider it probably as we go here.
Yeah, I'm going to consider it as well. That is Packers, Lions, Troy on the Lions -3. I don't hear anything.
What do you think about the side?
Well, they put out such a fishy line. We're week 14 of the NFL season. The football gamblers are as dialed in as they'll ever be. They all notice the line is fishy. The line keeps moving towards the Packers. I mean, it's one of those things where I almost, there's a bet I made this week that I almost didn't make because I was like, it's everybody's on it now kind of a thing. And it just I don't find it as appealing when everybody's on it. I need
another thing, Jim. Another thing I think is super important. I forgot it in my breakdown. The Packers on the road this season. What have they done on the road this season? Who have they played? Who have they beat? The Titans, the Rams, which a game they probably could have lost that game very easily. The Jaguars, another game they could have lost. And the Bears, another game they should have lost. They played 4 weak opponents on the road. This is the first time they're going to be running into a freaking, unless you think the injuries actually add up to something. I'm thinking that the injuries all being here and this line still at 3.5, or, it's coming down 3. Let's call it a 3 now. It's pretty strong.
The depth of this defense has just impressed me beyond measure. We have Ron Crawford in the house. Shout out to Ron Crawford, fresh off sweeping the board in NFL Pub Hub on Sunday with us, now in the top 5 of NFL Pub Hub, 32 cappers. Top 5 for Ron Crawford. Shout out to Ronnie. All right, Troy on the Lions -3, -120, and the under 51.5 is quite appealing. I'm going to study it a little more. I may move on that this evening. I put in a big chunk of action around midnight on Tuesday nights, midnight 12:30. It gets no traction because nobody sees the tweet. I couldn't care less. But I do it it's the years of our show. I do it on after our show every Tuesday. That is the Thursday nighter. Let's roll on to Sunday, December 8th, and get started with the Sunday 1 p.m. card. We start with the Jacksonville Jaguars, 2-10, 0-6 on the road at the Tennessee Titans, 3-9, 1-4 at home. We're at Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee, 52 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 7 miles per hour. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have a very low total. Very low total. It opened up at 40. The look ahead before games this past weekend was 42.5. Opened at 40 and it's dropped to 39. When it first dropped to 39, it was, pretty respectful vig. That's being juiced to the over. So there's not too much of a difference from the over 40 at a pick 'em to the 39 minus 117 to the over. It's still basically a 40. Let's get into the spread here. We have Jacksonville plus 3.5 at minus 107. They opened up at 5. And this immediately started getting hammered towards the Jaguars until it was a 3.5. But the look ahead was just a 3. Now that look ahead, of course, was a look ahead with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback and not Mac Jones. Let's get into the cash flow here. We have the Jaguars have 60% of the tickets and 52% of the cash, 78% of tickets and 89% of cash on the over. I found the whole Azeez Al-Shire hit, the forearm shiver to Trevor Lawrence's chin, extremely interesting from a team standpoint. And I was very, very confident that we were going to get paid on our Jaguars action at that point because the team was going to rally around their fallen brother.
Give them a reason, bro. Give these professional athletes where the parity is so large. I mean, I was a player that couldn't I couldn't make it into the NFL. I could not find myself on a roster. Yet I was able to beat Jimmy Ward in practice in multiple occasions, right? It just goes to show you, like, there's so much parity in the NFL. These teams are way closer than we think.
Yeah, and you just need a reason, and that was a huge reason. And for the public to sit here and think it's going to happen again, I think is something I'd be very interested in betting against at this point. And secondly, the Titans Commanders breakdown we did last week was an absolute thing of beauty. Now, we didn't make any money off of it, which is okay, because we knew that you don't sell the Commanders that low and you don't buy the Titans that high. The exact same thing can be said about this football game right here. You simply don't buy the Jaguars high and you simply don't sell the Titans this low. Now, the Titans this low might be arguable, but you can't buy the Jaguars this high. You can't expect that to carry over with Mac Jones at quarterback a week later. Let's get into it. Passing offense for the Jaguars, 25th, 196.4 yards per game. It's worse with Mac Jones at quarterback. Rushing offense, 25th, 101.3 yards per game on the ground. It's worse without Trevor Lawrence on the field because you can load up the box and dare Mac Jones to beat you. Red zone offense, 14th at 55.3%. We know that's way worse with Mac Jones at quarterback. Third down off, because Trevor Lawrence can also get in himself. Third down offense is 31st in the league. It's second worst third down offense with Trevor Lawrence. What do you think it is with Mac Jones at quarterback? Pass defense, 32nd in the league, 273.3 yards per game they allow through the air. Their rush defense is 24th at 133.2 yards per game. Red zone defense is 26th at 63%. Yes, Wager Detective, he was suspended for 3 games. It's all good, man. He was suspended. Don't worry. He was suspended for 3 games. The red zone defense, 26th, 63% conversion rate. Their third down defense, 27th. They allow 44.2% third downs to convert into first downs. Jaguars coming off a 23-20 home loss to the Texans. We just talked about the Azeez Al-Shire hit, the forearm shiver. The story was that Lawrence clenched both fists after the hit, which they say is a fencing response, which can be common after a traumatic brain injury. He was on the ground for several minutes. He was not transported to the hospital for tests. He's a tough kid. He was quickly ruled out, and I'm not sure if we will see him again this year. Doug Peterson said that no decision has been made yet if Lawrence will play again this season, but he's clearly not expected to go this week. Mac Jones came in and rallied the troops. 20 of 32 for 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Parker Washington caught 6 for 103 and a touchdown. Brian Thomas Jr. caught 4 for 76. Travis Etienne had 13 carries for 46 yards, caught 3 for 12. The Jags outgained the Texans 373 to 326. They were just 5 of 15 on third down and 2 of 4 in the red zone. The defense held the Texans to 5 of 13. Oh, I just said that. Here. Oh, sorry. So they were 5-15 in offense on third down and 2 of 4 in the red zone. The defense held the Texans to 5 of 13 on third down, just 1 of 3 in the red zone. The pass rush was quiet, as it has been all year. 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hits, and they lose Tyson Campbell, their cornerback, to a thigh injury, and their safety Darnell Savage to an ankle injury. Now, they've been called minor injuries, and we'll get a better idea on. They're going to be on the injury report tomorrow. We'll get a better idea, but they are both listed as questionable this week. I don't think the Texans are that good of a football team. I don't. In fact, I don't think it's crazy to say that the Titans at home. Now, I know this sounds crazy, but the Titans at home right now might be a more difficult beat than facing the Texans on the road. So I'm starting, and this was not the plan when I initially capped it, but as I'm saying this out loud, I think I would like to fade the Jaguars in this situation. I would like to fade. Now, there's no need to do this tonight. We see this line moving quickly towards the Jaguars. We can explain why the market is, and we can explain why, or I, at least out before, I shouldn't speak for you, Troy. I can explain exactly why I want to fade the public, why I want to fade the sentiment of what we just saw last week. Let's talk about the Titans. Passing offense 30th at 185.9. It's looked quite a bit better as Will Levis doesn't have the example, going 18 of 37 for 212 yards, 2 touchdowns. But again, no interceptions. I mean, he didn't look very good. They got down 28-0 fast, but it's been better. Rushing offense 20th in the league, 111.4. Red zone offense 25th, 50%. Third down offense 28. They only convert 33.8% of the time. Their passing defense has been strong this year. I mean, last week was not a good example of that. But they're first, allowing 171.8 yards per game. Rush defense is 16th. They allow 120.1 yards per game. Red zone defense 29th. They allow touchdown 65.9% of the time, has been a big problem. And their third down defense is 8th. They allow conversions 34.7% of the time. Tim Crowley saying 39.5 seems a little high here. The Titans were unable to follow up their 32-27 victory at Houston in Week 12, falling in ugly fashion, 42-19 at home to the Commanders. Wager Detective says, bet favorites early, dogs late, Billy Walters. I mean, the dogs that we are betting, we're beating these line moves by 1.5 to 2 points. So in NHL, in some sports, if you're dealing with the money line and things of that nature, I really agree with it. Baseball for sure, but not here because we're beating line moves on the dogs. So, but I understand what you're trying to say.
Markets have evolved significantly since Billy Walters was in his reign.
It's just if I did that in NFL, waited to bet the dogs, I'd be losing 2 points of value 85-90% of the time, which is why I've already moved on 2 dogs on this. I've already bet 2 dogs, so when we'll get to them, but I'm certain that I'm going to beat the line move. Expect to beat the line move. So we'll see how it bangs out. But let's get back to this Titans team here. Unable to follow up their 32-27 victory at Houston in Week 12. They fell in ugly fashion, 42-19 at home to the Commanders. Commanders outgained the Titans 463-245. Everybody saw how bad they were. Titans were down 28-0, 19 minutes into the game. The offense was nowhere to be found. We went over Levis's numbers. Nick Westbrook-Akine continues to play well. Caught a couple touchdown passes, caught 3 passes. Tony Pollard ran 8 times for 35 yards, caught 4 passes for 33 yards. He did lose a fumble, but the defense was abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. They allowed the Commanders to go 10 of 15 on third and fourth down combined. They allowed Washington to dominate time of possession 40-13 to 19-47. They allowed the Commanders to go 5 for 7 in the red zone. Arden Key had 1.5 sacks and 2 quarterback hits. No one else in the pass rush laid a finger on Jaden Daniels. Amani Hooker had an interception. Now Roger McCreary injured his shoulder late in the third quarter. He's listed as questionable. Take it away here for us, Troy. We have Jaguars, Titans.
Yeah, I watched Jaden Daniels this past week, and I thought that he looked like he got a little bit healthier. It definitely seemed like he was moving. He was playing with some more torque in his midsection. So that's definitely something. The verdict is out on what his situation is moving forward. But like we both backed this Jaguars team heavily. I was very heavy on them in Week 13. It was a great situational spot. They dominated the box score. And we knew better than the back Titans last week. We're not buying high and selling low. There's very rare occasions when you do so. This Jaguars defense is getting better, but it's not something I'm ready to sell out to because, like you said, I'm not sure. Actually, I am pretty sure of my thought process on where this Texans team currently is. They're not the same as what they were last year. They have a bunch of flaws offensively. So looking at what this defense was able to do, part of it was bad schematics by the offensive coordinator, and it was also a motivated, inspired effort because, hey, somebody just tried to kill your quarterback on the field. So you see some inspired effort out there, but they do have some talent. They have some stars at each level of their defense. One on the D line, one at linebacker, and one in the defensive backfield. What's his status? What's Campbell's status, Jimmy? Is he likely going to be out? You probably read it off, but I'm working through it as you're talking.
They claim that these are minor injuries.
Yeah.
That was the claim after the game. The minor injuries, nothing to worry about. So, I would expect now. I mean, this could be a smokescreen, but I would expect both of them to play this week if we're to believe, what Peterson's saying.
And I do, thinking about Peterson, I think he's one of the reasons. There's a few reasons to want to back this team in their current state with Doug Peterson, who I think is pretty much auditioning for his future role. And you got Lawrence, just some of their players that seem like they want to be. They're kind of hungry to get back out on the field. Offensively, there's some talent to be excited about, but at the same time, we're talking about the Jaguars in Week 14 of a lost season, and the Titans are pretty much in one quadrant over from where the New York Jets are for me, and that's right. It's on my hell no list with how they performed ATS, with how bad my record is with this team. Thinking about laying 3.5, 4 points with a team like this, I just don't know if I can get behind it. But you brought up this is a very compelling spot. And it would make it certainly a Titans or pass. And you look at Will Levis since being benched, and this will forever stick in my memory, Jim. This is branded into my memory until I see something different. Will Levis, after being benched, like his worst performance in the past 5 weeks was better than his best performance in the first 5 weeks. It just speaks volumes to what happens. You look at Bryce Young as another example of what happened in a situation like that. This is a Titans or pass, but not a game I'm going to be getting involved in.
I would like to get involved in it. I just want to see how far this line goes. If this sticks at 3.5, I will fade everything that the public saw last week, everything, with confidence. So I'm going to sit back and wait. In fact, this could even be a Titans double result on top of Titans on the spread. To think that is going to carry over with Mac Jones at quarterback, I think is a mistake that the public's going to make. And I talk so often about not believing what you just saw. Well, I don't, and I won't. And I
think that double result actually catches my interest. But I just, the Patriots, it was like, they went up against the Patriots and they were laying 3.5. And they did win that game by 3, but it was a freaking nail biter. Went to OT. Right around the same total at 39. It was 38.5, that total.
I tell you, I'm not betting on the Titans. I'm fading the Jaguars after what everybody just saw them do last week, because that wasn't real. That was a bunch of dogs coming together for their fallen brother, coming together and finally playing like a team, something that Doug Peterson's incapable of creating with this squad. He needed something like that for the players to see that, for them to come together. To think that will carry over on the road against a bad football team, I don't think so. I'm getting bullish as I talk about it here. Now, the only reason why I don't think I may not bet it tonight is because I want to see where the line goes. I just want to see. I want to see if we can get now. Maybe maybe they're waiting to see if Trevor Lawrence is announced out, which is nuts to me. Maybe I should just get on it now. Maybe we're not going to get better than -3.5.
I don't think you do. I really don't.
This was not part until I talked it out loud. Now all of a sudden here I'm just bullish on the Titans and going to continue to do so. This is probably a double up spot, double result, and then Titans -3.5 full game. I'm going to leave.
I'll be looking towards Titans, Jim. I'll be looking towards Titans with you. Jim
Dewigger says, "Don't ignore how bad the Titans are." And then, so are we saying that Jim Dewigger? Now are we saying then the Houston Texans are trash? Is that what we're saying? That they're a trash football team? If I don't think they are. I don't think they're that good. I don't think that we should say the Titans are horrible because of the Washington in a perfect situation, losing by 10 points as double-digit favorites, having 3 guys almost break down in tears talking about the events that took place. Of course, and they rallied together a week before their bye week. Jaden Daniels knows he gets 2 weeks off after to rest the ribs. I mean, I think everything's explainable here, but so we'll move on here from this spot. But I'm pretty excited now about the spot.
The last 4 games in this sample was a home win by 12, by 37, by 31, and by 7. 2 of those games in that sample were the Saints.
Yeah, and
this football team.
This is a spot. This is the time of year now where I can bet against the market move if I can explain it completely and comfortably. We're that deep into the season. We have enough sample size for everything.
Well, Jimmy, this is the range you do want to bet against the market move. 3, 3.5, 4. This is where you want to back a home team in this price range against the market move. God damn it.
Timothy Crowley says, I don't see how the Jags get to 17 points. I agree, Timothy. I just don't like betting team total unders on dogs ever. I only bet them on favorites. So, but I agree. I agree. Look, this is
the average profile for this game for the road team is an average score of 14.9 points. Going over, is it 17.5 is what he said?
Mm-hmm.
So in a 13-game sample, it went over 4 times. So 9 and 4 to the away team total under.
I have the plan here, and I'm ready to fire. Let's move on. 1 p.m. Eastern, we have New York Jets 3-9, 1-5 on the road at Miami Dolphins, 5-7, 3-3 at home. Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. 77 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 10-mile-per-hour winds. In this spot, I stayed off of betting Miami because the line is again moving towards the Jets, and I just thought I'll talk this out first. The Dolphins hurt me in the snow, and everybody was right, and I was wrong about the team. I wasn't wrong about Tagovailoa, who had a good game.
Right.
55. Oh, sorry. Let's go into the line history before the cash flow here. We have this at a we'll talk at the 6.5. This opened up at 6.5 with the Dolphins at -110. They're now at plus 102. It was a really strange move, and it happened this morning or even this afternoon. At 1:20 in the morning, this 6.5 was -118. This was moving towards 7. And then it stops in its tracks and goes in the other direction. So so you see 6s. So the line's moving towards the Jets. That just made me just take a pause. Don't need to get in early. Talk it out. This total is a 44.5. Opened up at 44.5 and went up to 45.5. This was 45.5 and dropped back to 44.5. We have 4 cents of movement on the over. When we get to the cash flow, you have 45% of the tickets on the Jets and 49% of the cash. So public really hasn't, or the gamblers haven't really shown their hand yet. 66% of the tickets and 88% of cash on the over. Miles Johnson says, don't love that Miami opened under the 7. And he says, do the Jets have any fight left? I mean, I think that's the biggest question here. Let's talk about them. Passing offense, 23rd, 204 yards per game. Rushing offense, 29th, 87.3 yards a game on the ground. Their red zone offense struggled this year, 18th at 54.1%, and their third down offense is 12th at 39.6%. Their passing defense is second. They only allow 174.9 yards per game, but their rushing defense is a problem, 20th at 126.3 yards per game. The red zone defense has been bad all year. It's 21st at 59.5%. They allow touchdowns 59.5% of the time, and their third down defense 15th, allowing conversions 37.4% of the time. The Jets come in off a 26-21 loss at home to the Seahawks, getting shut out in the second half. They've now lost 3 in a row, 8 of 9. They're 1-6 under Jeff Ulbrich, and the offense continues to struggle. They finished with just 4.2 yards per play. There's no chance Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback of the Jets next year. 21 of 39, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, interceptions, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He did take a tiny bit of the blame for the first time. You know, I don't know why the quarterbacks that are leading their teams are saying, oh, it's all on me. I must be better. He never does that. Devontae Adams caught 5 for 66 in the touchdown. Breece Hall ran 12 times for 60 yards, fumbled twice, losing one of them. He's not been good this year. They were just 6 of 16 on 3rd and 4th down. Now, they did go 2 of 3 in the red zone. The defense tried to keep them in it, held the Seahawks to 259 total yards, 413 on 3rd down. Pass rush had 3 sacks, 6 quarterback hits. Seahawks went 2 of 3 in the red zone. Sauce Gardner injured a hamstring. He's not, his heart's just not being in it this year. He's not making tackles. So at this point, he is expected. Now, he's not being announced out, and the injury report tomorrow will be big, but it looks like he won't be in the lineup on Sunday. Let's talk about the Dolphins. Passing offense 18th, 217.8 yards per game. Rushing offense 22nd, 110.3 yards per game. Their rushing offense has been so much worse than it was last year with the same personnel. The red zone offense 11th, 56.8%. Third down offense 11th. They convert 40.7% of the time. Their passing defense 9th. Their defense has been really strong. And I know we didn't get the right example of that in the snow in Green Bay, but it has been. They're 9th in pass defense, 9th in rush defense. Red zone defense 8th. They allow touchdowns 50% of the time. Their third down defense is 7th. They allow conversions 34.5% of the time. They come in off the 30-17 loss at Green Bay to snap their 3-game winning streak. The Dolphins now have lost 12 straight games in which temperatures at kickoff are under 40 degrees. It was a mistake for me to get all rah-rah about Tua Tagovailoa pumping everybody up, because he went 37 for 46 for 365 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. If you had told me that was his stat line, I would say, oh, wow, I must have cashed.
We're covered.
Jonnu Smith led receivers with 10 catches for 113 yards. I felt Tyreek Hill was missing all game long, but he caught the late touchdown, which got Spenny Pennybaum's a huge casher. That was the final spot on a 17-1 all-day touchdown parlay. It 1 touchdown in each game on Thursday, Thanksgiving Thursday. Shout out to Spenny Pennybaums. The rushing game was abysmal. 14 carries for 39 yards, just 1 rushing first down. What's happened? Devon Achane ran 7 times for 14 yards. They don't even trust him. Now, he caught 8 passes for 56 yards and a touchdown. Dolphins were 14 on third down, 2 of 4 in the red zone. They allowed the Packers to put up 7.3 yards per play. It's just makes me extremely angry just reading the stat out loud. 5 of 11 on third down, 3 of 5 in the red zone. The pass rush was invisible all night. 0 sacks, 3 quarterback hits, and they lost Kohu. Kader Kohu hurt his back and also cornerback Cam Smith hurt his shoulder. Both are listed as questionable this week, and I don't know if Kendall Fuller is coming back. I mean, he's missed 2 straight games with a concussion. There's no word. It's not like, he's, so I expect Kendall Fuller not to be at practice tomorrow. It would be huge if he was. Take it away, my friend. Dolphins at home to the Jets in a division battle.
You only get so many credits of time and energy to get ready for this show and be fully prepared. I did not want to spend all my credits in this matchup. I was turned off from this matchup as soon as I looked at it, because I signed a contract, first of all. It's hanging up right here that I cannot bet the Jets for the rest of the season, which immediately puts this in the Dolphins or fade category. But then you look at the database and the market history in a divisional matchup like this, and it puts me on the dog or the pat. So basically, I can't get involved with this game, it feels like, because if I did, it would have to be on the New York Jets. Home favorites between 6 and 7 in division are just 5 and 13 ATS. That's 28%. And if the market moves away from them towards the road team in division, 1 and 9 ATS. There's just no way I would ever be on the Dolphins in this situation. I have the intersecting narratives and data points that kill my passion with this game. I don't trust the psychology or the effort that I'm seeing on both sides of these. I don't know what I'm going to get out of both teams now that they're basically all but eliminated from playoff contention. I don't trust the coaching on either side of the ball either. I used to think highly of McDaniels, and now that I see he's on LSD, I'm really not that interested in him. This is a Jets or pass, but I am not going to have my money on the Jets. And here's the problem is I have a rule that if this market drops, we start seeing 5.5s in the market, that I'd be betting the last remaining 6, and I'll be looking for the Jets on the money line. That's a rule of mine. So what happens when my rule goes against my contract? I'm going to have to work that out with my manager.
What about that Dolphins double result? I expect them to fire. I don't think the Jets are trying. If the spread is too many points for the Jets to keep it within 6, what do you think of? Because I want to get to the Dolphins. But you're right. The market is telling us the Jets are capable of keeping this close, and maybe they are. But I don't think
in that last sample I talked about, Tim's asking about a teaser leg on the Dolphins. So I have a 9-1 ATS spot for the road team. But in that same exact sample, the home team is 8-2 on the money line. So 80% on the money line puts you in a profitable region. And it does all the way through this entire sample. So I don't mind the Dolphins on a money line, a money line parlay or a teaser leg.
or the Dolphins double result like Mel's on. It's an interesting look, Mel. I'm interested in joining you on the Dolphins double result. I was trying to figure out a way to get with the Dolphins, but clearly something made me very nervous about it, and the line's moving towards the Jets. Yes, Destro. Sauce hurt his hamstring. We'll see if he can play or not. We'll have to see here. I don't think he will, because I don't think he's trying. I don't think he cares to come back. What's he coming back for? I don't think he's going to push it. Dolphins double result's a very interesting way of handling this, Mel. She already moved on the Dolphins double result yesterday. All right, we're going to move on. Next up for us, 1 p.m. Eastern, Atlanta Falcons, 6-6, 3-2 on the road at the Minnesota Vikings, 10-2, 5-1 at home, US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I want the Falcons. I want the Falcons right away. But this line is moving towards the Vikings. I mean, how high are the Falcons going to get? And this has nothing really to do with Kirk Cousins going up against his old team. You know, he played for 6 years. It's not that. And usually that would be an angle that I would talk about. It's not. I don't think Minnesota is that good. They're not a 10-2 football team. To me, I think that they are fadeable. And I think this is a great buy, very low spot on the Falcons, but I couldn't bet this early. What was the point of betting this early? We'll start with the total. This total's at 46. It's juiced to the under. It opened up at 46 and moved immediately to 45 in like 30 minutes. It came back to 46. It was juiced to the over at 46 again, about 24 hours ago. Now it's back juiced to the under. So there has been 8 cents of movement towards the under. Let's get to the spread here for this one. We have a 6. 6 is around. Now, they're not everywhere. 365. I don't think they had popped the 6 up yet. They still got the 5.5. 6s are coming. Some books have moved it to 6. We're just waiting for the rest of them to move it to 6 at this point. Let's get to the cash flow here. We have, here we go. Take me a second. My apologies. We have 56% of tickets and 62% of the cash on the Falcons. That also stopped me in my tracks. If other cappers are feeling the same thing, then, why is this line moving so briskly towards the Minnesota Vikings? Let's start with the Falcons. Oh, did I go through the total cash too? I apologize if I didn't. Cash flow for the total, 72% tickets, 63% cash on the over, under just 28 and 37. So we're in US Bank Stadium here. We'll talk with the Falcons. Passing offense 4th, 242.8 yards per game. And there are a lot of calls from Michael Penix Jr. Now, Raheem Morris came out and said that that's not happening, at least not this week. Well, he didn't say at least not this week. He said, look, we're tied for the division lead. We thank Kirk Cousins for that, and we're sticking with them. Rushing offense 14th, 117.8 yards per game. Red zone offense 25th. That's a big surprise. They have a lot of weapons. But a lot of mistakes are being made in the red zone by the Falcons, 50%. Third down offense, 23rd at 35.9%. Their offense, quite a bit worse than we expected. And their defense, bad. We thought it'd be middling, but it's bad. Passing defense, 22nd, allowing 221.7 yards per game through the air. Rush defense, 17th, 121.3. Red zone defense is 19th. They're allowing touchdowns 57.9% of the time. And their worst statistic is their third down defense, where they're 29th in the league, allowing conversions 44.7% of the time. Falcons coming off their third straight loss, 17-13 setback at home to the Chargers. They lost despite outgaining the Chargers 350 to 187. I mean, that is wild. Kirk Cousins, 24-39 for 245 yards, no touchdowns, 4 picks. Only the second 4-interception game of his career. Now he gets a chance to rebound against this team he played for 6 seasons. Ray McLeod caught 4 for 95. Drake London caught 9 for 86. Bijan Robinson had a big game, 26 carries for 102 yards and a touchdown, caught 6 for 33. Falcons were just 3 of 14 on third down, 1 of 4 in the red zone. The defense tried to keep them in it, held the Chargers to 4.1 yards per play, held them to 3 of 11 on third down, 0 of 2 in the red zone, held the Chargers to just 56 yards on the ground. Pass rush had 5 sacks and 8 quarterback hits. They came into the game with 10 sacks on the season. So the defense was trying. I mean, if they could develop a pass rush over the second half of the season, it'd be huge for their chances in the NFC South. which they're currently tied with the Bucs at 6-6. Let's move on to these Vikings. Passing offense, 10th in the league, 231.6 yards per game. Rushing offense, 17th, 113 yards per game. Red zone offense, not very good. They get touchdowns 53.5% of the time. That's good for 19th in the league. And their third down offense, middling, convert 38.7% of the time. That's 14th in the league. Their pass defense, 28th. They allow 243.3 yards per game through the air, but just 81.3 on the ground, which is the best in the league. Red zone defense, 18th. They allow touchdowns 56.3% of the time. And their third down defense is 10th. They allow conversions 34.8% of the time. They come in off their fifth straight victory, 23-22 at home over the Cardinals. We cashed with the Cardinals. That's all we wanted. And I was kind of happy they didn't win outright, honestly, because, I've already bet them for this week. The Vikings won despite being outgained 406-273. They stayed one game behind Detroit in the NFC North. They scored on their final 3 full possessions. 187 yards on 23 plays over those final 3 drives. Look, we know this team has a ton of heart, ton of character. No one's questioning that. Coaching staff has a ton of heart and character. Sammy Darnold has a ton of heart and character. These guys are fighting. They're playing hard. They're playing well. And they stepped up when the game was on the line. Darnold was 21-31 for 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Justin Jefferson led receivers with 7 catches for 99 yards. Aaron Jones ran just 5 times for 22 yards, caught 3 for 6 yards and a touchdown. Now, he also fumbled twice, was fortunate not to lose both of them. He was not trusted after that. So I do expect him to bounce back here. But they were 1 of 8 on third down, 2 of 4 in the red zone, allowed 406 yards, but they strengthened whenever necessary. Flores just, I don't know how he does it, but they held the Cardinals to 1 of 6 in the red zone. 1 of 6. Pass rush had just 1 sack and 3 quarterback hits. Shaquille Griffin, Byron Murphy had interceptions, but Stephon Gilmore, 5-time Pro Bowler, left with a hamstring injury. This is a huge part of this game. So Stephon Gilmore has a hamstring injury. Can he come back and play? Because his replacement, Fabian Moreau, was targeted nonstop. He took 2 pass interference penalties. He was beaten by Marvin Harrison for a 15-yard touchdown. Kevin O'Connell said that the Gilmore avoided a longer-term issue. Well, that means he's not playing this week. And Josh Oliver, their blocking tight end, has missed 2 straight games. We'll see if he can play with the ankle injury. I want the Falcons before this Wednesday injury report comes out, maybe, because it's going to say Stephon Gilmore didn't practice. And they're going to say, well, we got to get Fabian Moreau ready to go. Maybe I should just bet this before the injury report comes out. Take it away, Troy. Falcons, Vikings, US Bank Stadium.
I mean, the Vikings fit the description for me of a team that I want to fade. Talk about teetering on a loss. You look at their last 5 wins, and every single one of these games could have been a loss. Jacksonville, Tennessee, which is a 10-point game, but it was a lot closer than that. The Bears, the Arizona Cardinals, which is another game. I mean, they're getting outgained, out EPA'd on both sides of the ball, and they're winning games. So that's a sign of a good team, sign of a well-coached team. We know this team's well-coached. And I need to watch more film on what the Falcons did differently defensively, because it was just looking at the box score. I can't imagine that there wasn't a serious change in philosophy defensively. They applied pressure, seemingly. They were great on third down. They held what was the third 3 out of 11 on third down. 0-2, they kept them 0-2 the red zone, allowing 4.1 yards per play, 187 total yards by the Chargers. I mean, that's a defensive effort that we have not seen from the Falcons team. And they're another team, the Falcons, I mean, they're kind of the opposite of the Vikings, because they dominate box scores, but it hasn't been translating to wins. And the game of football is won in the margins, especially at the NFL. I talked about the parity. It's won in the margins. It's a game of inches. I really believe that. And you look at both these teams' box scores, and you'd flip the records. You'd say that the Vikings are a 500 football team, and the Atlanta Falcons are 9-3. Seriously, that's how split the box scores are. The Vikings are overvalued in the market. This is a team I've earmarked for my fade list. Outgained, only 1 of 8 on third down against Arizona. And teams are starting to force Darnold into his weakest areas. And he tries to force feed the ball in the middle of the field. And if you looked at his passer rating over the course of the season, every single week, it's continued to drop over the middle of the field. It's because teams are just squeezing the internal part of the field, forcing him to throw it outside of the numbers where he's really uncomfortable, especially 10 or more yards down the field. He does not want to throw it outside of the numbers, and he's very inaccurate doing so. This Vikings team is a fade. This has to be a Falcons or pass, but I'm just I don't see an edge in this game yet. I'm going to wait and see what happens with this market because it is hanging around the key 6. And I think if there's any number I'm buying to, I'm not buying to a 7. Like I'm buying to a 3 and to a 6. Those are the only 2 numbers that I'm extremely concerned with when analyzing the market.
Well, a popular offshore book that isn't my main one when I'm trying to judge, the sharpest books, but it's a very sharp book. Just moved this back to 5.5. Just moved it back to 5.5 at 6:30 p.m. tonight. I didn't know that they did. You know what? I'm going to decide whether I'm going to pay for the 6 after the show, but I'm going to bet this after the show because my expectation is they're going to say Stephon Gilmore's not in the lineup. They're going to say that after the Wednesday injury report. And I do like Kirk Cousins coming off 4 interception game going up against his old team. So 2-3 says, why fade the Vikings back-to-back? I don't care what happened with my money making last week. This is a new set of variables. I'm fading them this week because I don't think they're as good as the power rankings have them. I think this is the lowest buy spot you're ever going to get on the Falcons, losing 3 straight and coming out of their bye week and laying an egg. Look, Troy's faded the Chiefs 6 weeks in a row, and he's 6-0. So last week is important to me about what the football teams did, but it's not important where I got paid. I'm going to move on to Falcons after this show is over, but I will decide whether I will pay for the 6. I'm not sure at this point. Okay, Troy, you ready to roll on from this one?
Let's go. Yeah, let's go.
We move on to 1 p.m. Eastern. New Orleans Saints 4-8, 1-4 on the road. New York Giants 2-10, 0-6 at home. MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. I immediately wanted to bet the under. I've been staring at it for 48 hours. It's climbing quickly. And I just, that's fine. It's fine because I get a chance to talk it out here on Tuesday, so let's talk it out. I mean, this is a 41, a real sharp offshore. This moved from 39.5 to 41 today. It's just minus 104 to the over and minus 110 to the under. It's a big move towards the over. One I can't really explain, but now I'm a little more comfortable with the run that we're on going up against some of these market moves, but I need to be able to explain this one. Let's talk about the spread. Saints open up -4. They're now -5. So a 1-point move towards the Saints. Let's get into the cash flow for this one. We have 77% of the tickets and 89% of the cash on the Saints. You have 84% of the tickets and 76% cash on the over here. 42 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 8 miles per hour. The weather's pretty nice this weekend. Not a lot of worries there. We have the Giants who are 0-6 at home against the Saints team that's 1-4 on the road. Saints passing offense 19th. They get 213.9 yards per game. Rushing offense 10th. Get 131.8 yards a game on the ground. Red zone offense 9th. They score touchdowns 58.3% of the time. Third down offense 15th. They allow conversions. They get conversions, 38.5% of the time. Passing defense, 29th. Their defense has been bad. Now, Darren Rizzi has injected some life into them, but the pass defense, 29th, allowing 249.1 yards per game through the air. Rush defense, 26th. They allow 136 yards per game on the ground. Their red zone defense is 11th. They allow touchdowns 51.4% of the time, and their third down defense, 13th. They allow conversions just 36.9% of the time. They come off that 21-14 loss at home to the Rams. You were bullish on the Rams, and you were richly rewarded +3 at plus money, and you got the money line in as well. And we had them as part of our sweeping the board in the Circa Millions Capper contest. They're now 2-1 under Darren Rizzi. Derek Carr was 24-37 for 184 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Alvin Kamara ran 23 times for 112 yards. I didn't realize he had such a monster game. And when I did study how much of a monster game, I did feel a little compassion for our friend Spenny Pennybombs. He had an 8-player touchdown parlay. I think it was 188-1. It was something just, ridiculous. And he cashed 7 of them. The only person who didn't cash was Kamara, who ran for 112 yards. So when I did read those stats, Spenny, I felt for you, man. Taysom Hill led receivers with 5 catches for 37 yards. But he hurt his knee. He tore his ACL, and he is done for the season. he is such a dynamic member of this offense. The offense struggled, 4.8 yards per play, 5 of 15 on third down, 0 of 2 in the red zone. And the red zone is where the game was won, as the Rams were a perfect 3 for 3 there. The defense struggled in the most important moments of the game. The Rams finished 5-11 on third down, third and fourth down combined. Pass rush finished with 2 sacks, 6 quarterback hits. And Eric McCoy didn't come back. He re-aggravated his groin. Now Shane Lemieux's back healthy again, so at least they have McCoy's backup. But Nick Saldiveri carted off the field with a left knee injury. I was combing to get Saldiveri information, and all that was coming up was the Taysom Hill information. But Saldiveri now off this offensive line. Look, I don't know if I'm going as far as saying I want to fade the Saints with this horrible Giants team, but this is not a Saints team I want to back against any team in the NFL, including a possibly, Tommy DeVito-led Giants team. Giants passing offense 31st, 183.2 yards per game. Rushing offense 15th, 115.9 yards per game. Rushing offense 32nd. Red zone offense 32nd. So worse than the league. They only get touchdowns 42.4% of the time. Their third down offense 21st. They only convert 37% of the time. They're bad. Their pass defense 6th. They allow 194.3 yards per game through the air. Rush defense 29th, allowing 145.8. The red zone defense has been decent this year, 11th, 51.4%. Their third down defense 14th at 36.9%. The Giants come in off extra rest. They lose 27-20 to the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Thursday. Drew Lock started in place of Tommy DeVito, who's dealing with the forearm injury. Lock was 21-32 for 178 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. He also led the ground game, running 4 times for 57 yards and a touchdown. He did lose a fumble. It's unclear who will start this week. I mean, Drew Lock, of course, gives them the best chance to win, but if they're going to, if the brain trust wants the first overall pick, then they'll go with Tommy DeVito. Both quarterbacks are, the only thing you can count on them is the underneath passes in the, like the RPO game. That's it. But Drew Lock is quite a bit better. The offensive line did not help Lock at all. He was sacked 6 times and hit 14 times. Malik Neighbors led receivers with 8 catches for 69 yards. Tyrone Tracy ran 9 times for 32, caught 2 for 33, 4.2 yards per play, 3 of 12 on third down. But they were a perfect 2 of 2 in the red zone. This pass rush was once a strength, has fallen on hard times. Dexter Lawrence dislocated his elbow in the second quarter. He's done for the season. They're already playing without Azeez Ojulari. Without those two, they're not getting pressure. 0 sacks, 3 quarterback hits. Then they lose DJ Davidson, a defensive lineman, a depth lineman, hurt his shoulder. His coolest is questionable this week. The Cowboys went 7 of 15 on third down. So I guess now explaining it, that the Giants don't have a pass rush. I guess if Tommy DeVito's announced in, I'll bet the under. But if not, I think there's enough holes, and there's a reason why this has gone from 39.5 up to 41. Take it away for us here, Troy. MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, for Saints Giants.
Like you said, I faded the Saints team this past week. I want to thank my boy Tim Crowley, who pointed it out, gave me faith. This man moved 8 units. He never bets anything more than 1 unit. Moves 8 units on the Rams. I had to follow. And I had database support. And I had reasons that I like the Rams as well. But thank you, TC, for getting me there. Saints, this team haven't played a road game in over a month. They haven't won and covered on the road since week 2. In their current state with no playoff hopes, there's no way that I buy this Saints team as a big road favorite, especially I really like the angle for the Giants and the fact that they haven't been on the road for over a month. Now they're going to play the Giants. So they're going to get up to play the Giants. I don't believe they will. And I expect the Giants to win in the trenches, despite some of the losses they had on the defensive line. I expect the Giants to be able to lean on their rushing attack. We know this Saints team is the worst run defense in the NFL. Number 32 per PFF. Any way you want to slice it, you're going to find holes in this run defense from the Saints. I know they're going to lean on our guy Tracy, who I think is a really good running back. And then you look at what the Giants are able to do against the Bucs and the Cowboys and their running games. I know that Kamara and this rushing attack is pretty dynamic, but now you take Taysom Hill out of the equation, and the run game is not as dynamic as it once was. They held the Bucs and the Cowboys to inefficient rushing attacks. Other than one run, outside of Bucky Irving's one legit run where he just blew it off the top for 56 yards, both running backs were held to minimal gains, under 3 yards per carry. 5 points is too much. I have some bullish reasons in the database that favors the Giants. I don't love that this total's taken to the over, as that reduces my expected outcome significantly. But still, regardless, it's a profitable play. On the +5. So I moved on Giants +5. And that's not going to be a very popular one amongst the community, I'm sure, but I think that's the right play.
I don't dislike it at all. Do you agree with what did you get juice-wise?
This is one I moved on before the show. One of my 2 pre-flop bets. I think I got a pretty good 5. -108.
-108. Do you agree with this total going up to 41?
I don't agree with the total going up because I think that we would see long, grueling drives from this Giants offense. And if anything, if the Saints are going to be successful offensively, like I guess you have some boom or bust in there with Valdez-Scantling and Derek Carr wanting to launch downfield. But I think the under would be the right side.
If Tommy DeVito is announced in, would that make you concerned?
No, if you look at the advanced metrics, Tommy DeVito is a better quarterback than Drew Lock in the sample of when they're both starting at quarterback. Now, the one thing I do like about either quarterback situation is, especially Drew Lock, who's been awful under pressure. And one of the main reasons I faded this Giants team with a max bet on the Cowboys is because he was so bad under pressure. I trusted the Cowboys. The one redeeming quality is what I called it for the Cowboys was their pass rush. Well, now we're looking at a bottom 5 pass rush. So either way, like give me DeVito, give me Drew Lock, give me the 5 points.
Wow, what a fascinating breakdown. It's going to give me a lot of food for thought here. I'm very interested in the under. I do want to know who's at quarterback just to fulfill the X's and O's.
That's another narrative that you hear, and it's the same with the Titans this week. The Titans haven't covered at home. The Giants haven't won at home. I don't even know in how long. I don't think they've covered at home all season long. You get these narratives, they start to build. How often does a team go winless at home in a season? This might be the win for the Giants.
It might be. There you go. Saints, Giants, Troy on the Giants +5. I'm interested to see how high this total will go. I want to know who's at quarterback. I'm very interested in the under. Let's roll on. Next up for us, 1 p.m. Eastern. Finally, a game that I've already bet. Carolina Panthers 3-9, 1-4 on the road. Philadelphia Eagles 10-2, 4-1 at home. Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. 46 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 10-mile-per-hour winds. Take a look at the line history here for this one. We have Carolina, who's been very good, very, very good to me at +12.5. There are 13s. I got the +13 at -115. It's moved a cent since I bought it. It's now -116. I really like it. Let's get to the total here in this one. From a total scenario, we have a 46. It's -109 to the over. Opened up at 45, so we've gone up a point in the total. When we get to the cash here in this one, we have went too far. We have 36% of the tickets and 44% of the cash on the Carolina Panthers, 77% of tickets and 92% of cash on the over. We just have a real wonderful opportunity with the Panthers now because Bryce Young is playing at a high level and the market can't react fast enough. If you are basing this on year-long statistics, you get a +13 is what is fired out. And I like it a lot. Passing offense for the Panthers, 29th in the league, 187.1 yards per game. Rushing offense, 24th, 105.3. Red zone offense, 17th. They are scoring touchdowns 54.3% of the time. And with the way Thielen is playing and some of these weapons and Leggett and others, it's exciting. And they can score. Third down offense, 27th, 34.2%. Passing defense, 24th, 25.3 yards per game. Rush defense, 32nd. They allow 166.8 yards per game, but this defense is much improved over the last few weeks. Red zone defense, 25th. They allow touchdown 61.5% of the time, and their third down defense is last, 46.8%. They're allowing conversions very easily. They're coming off a tough 26-23 overtime loss at home versus the Bucs. Bryce Young continued a strong play, 26 of 46 for 298 yards and a touchdown. He also ran 3 times for 17 yards and a touchdown. I really like him. He's earned my respect. He's made me money. I really like what he's doing right now, and I'm going to keep riding him. Adam Thielen 8 catches for 99 yards and a touchdown. He looks reinvigorated. Tommy Tremble caught 5 for 77. Chuba Hubbard ran 12 times for 43 yards and cost the Panthers the game with the fumble in overtime. He was basically in tears after the game. He sat on the bench for a long time afterwards. All the players were gone. He was just sitting there on the bench. I think he has a game here going up against Barkley. I don't know what I want to do with that. I mean, it's not like I'd be. Maybe I should look into his rushing prop. That's just come to me now. The Eagles' rush defense is really strong, but he really was hurting after the game. The offense was 6 of 16 on third down, just 1 of 4 in the red zone. We know that they've been much better in the red zone of late. The defense allowed the Bucs to put up 445 yards, but did step up at important times. The Bucs were 2 of 12 on third down and 2 of 5 in the red zone. Pass rush continues to look much improved. 4 sacks, 6 quarterback hits. Xavier Woods and Shaw Smith-Wade each had interceptions. Let's talk about the Eagles. You know, I loved seeing them beat the Ravens. I've got them at 6-1 to win the NFC. I loved it. But this is a tricky spot for them now with the Panthers coming in. Passing offense, 28th in the league, 188.8 yards per game. They're not getting a lot through the air, but they have the best rushing offense in the league, 188.9 yards per game. They're getting more yards on the ground this year than they are through the air. Red zone offense, 13th at 56.5%. Third down offense, 9th, 42.3%. Their pass defense, 3rd, only allowing 178 yards per game. Their rush defense, 7th. They allow 104.8 yards per game on the ground. Red zone defense, 5th. I mean, Fangio's just done a phenomenal job. 46% of the time they're allowing touchdowns, under 50, which is a really nice number. Third down defense, 2nd. I mean, they're only allowing conversions 33.3% of the time. They come off this monster victory. And again, they won. And in a lot of these spots I'm targeting, you know, but they won despite being outgained 372 to 252. Jalen Hurts was just 11 of 19 for 118 yards and a touchdown. Also ran 9 times for 29 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Brown had 5 receptions for 66 yards. Saquon Barkley ran 23 times for 107 and a touchdown. Also got 2 for 10. They were 4 of 12 on third down, 2 of 3 in the red zone. The defense looked really strong. Held the Ravens to 6 of 15 on third down. Held the Ravens to 2 of 5 in the red zone. Pass rush had 3 sacks, 6 quarterback hits. The Eagles were without Devonta Smith with a hamstring injury. It's a real issue, so I don't think they rush him back to play the Panthers. Darius Slay in concussion protocol, so he didn't play either. There's no sign that he's coming back. Now, Reed Blankenship is also in concussion protocol. So you have 2 important players of the secondary who probably aren't necessary to win the football game. Britton Covey left with a neck injury. Dallas Goedert caught 3 for 35 in the touchdown, and then he left with the knee injury. And this is what they said about Goedert, which tells me he's not going to play this week, is that, oh, we're so lucky we avoided a significant injury. Well, that means I don't think he plays this week. And maybe I'm tying too much into that. Panthers plus 13 to the bank. Troy, take it away, Panthers, Eagles.
Oh, this is a tough spot because, you know, these are like two of my childs right here. I love the Eagles, been on them all season long, and I've been back on the Panthers train since Bryce Young has showed some life back at quarterback. But I think my 3-game streak of backing the Panthers is coming to an end. Watching what Bryce Young has done, I talked about a little bit earlier, is just uplifting. When you sit back and you get to watch and you come in with the pressures dissolved and you get to play a little bit more free. I mean, it just speaks so much to how important psychology is in this game. The problem is, just like the Saints, the Panthers haven't been on the road in over a month. From a bye week, 2 home games. Before that, they were in London. I don't know if that's a true road game. It's definitely not like playing in Philly. Before that, at home against the Saints. I mean, over a month before this team, this is the last time this team has played a true road game. I think that makes for a bad spot for a team that's been performing 4 competitive efforts in a row. They put together 2 wins, 2 very close games against 2 quality teams. I mean, it's been extremely impressive. But the Bucs, I mean, they just averaged 6 yards per carry against this Panthers team. Once they figured out that they could just turn around and hand it to Bucky, the defense did not look as strong as it was early in that game. What do we think the Eagles team is going to do? A team that's dedicated and committed to the running game. They're probably going to turn it around. Maybe Gainwell props is a way to look in this game. And the thing is about this market, we talked a lot about double-digit spreads the past few weeks, especially last week when you were looking at 2 teams. You had the Lions as a double-digit favorite. Now, I know it didn't close that way, but I talked about the numbers before that on Tuesday. And you had the Kansas City Chiefs who were double-digit favorites. The 2 markets were completely different because one team was in division, one team was out of division. Now, in both spots, the road team did end up covering. I will say that. But historically, non-divisional double-digit home favorites. Actually, both of those games were in division. Excuse me. Both of those games last week were in division. But non-divisional double-digit home favorites bring home the cash, over 60% rate. It gets even more telling later in the season. As the season goes on, the home team cashes at a higher rate if they're laying double digits in a spot like this. Now, usually we don't see totals this high in this type of market, especially later in the season when the weather's more involved. But I feel like there's too many reasons. I know the Eagles are coming off a big win. It's not like I'm chomping at the bit to go back the Eagles in this spot. But I'm definitely not going to be catching points with the Panthers. I'm heavily considering. I'm trying to find out who I'm going to pair with. I think I have two legs right now for a 3-team 10-point teaser, and the Eagles will be one of them. Get them at -2. But as it goes for a pre-flop bet right now, I don't have one.
What if I was to say that this market is way behind the Panthers with Bryce Young playing the way he's playing? Way behind. It's impossible for the market to catch up this late in the season with the amount of sample size that they have. It's impossible.
I would agree with you 100%. That's why you're not going to see me laying the points with the Eagles in this spot. It's because I do believe what you're saying. Like we just watched it, Jim. They should have won that game by margin, to be honest with you. So that's why I'm not on it. And I want to back you off your action and make you feel less bullish, because I could totally 100% see the angle on the Panthers, especially when you're considering exactly what you're saying.
These are my favorite spots in sports. I do not care what happened last week from an emotional loss or anything like that. It's my favorite. And you look, if I lose this bet, if you guys are right, because a lot of you guys are just saying that the Eagles are going to smash. The Eagles have the Steelers on deck. The Eagles just beat the Ravens. The market can't possibly quantify what this Panthers team is like with Bryce Young playing at this level. This is absolutely my favorite spot in sports gambling. So it is what it is. I can understand. I just absolutely love this spot.
It's really the must of what I just seen. I just seen the Bucks. So this is another point in your cap, Jim. I just seen the Bucks turn around and generate 5 line yards. Bucky was running untouched for 3 to 5 yards multiple times in the second half. What the hell are the Eagles going to do if that's the case with the Bucks?
That's fair.
That's one thing that's keeping me off. Like
Bucky was spectacular, though.
He was.
I mean, was that Bucky having the best game of his entire life, or the Panthers unable to stop the run and making Bucky look spectacular? It's a fun cap, and I completely understand the idea that the Eagles could just run the ball down the throat. And yes, let's say they do. Let's say Barkley puts up 200 yards. Are you going to keep the Panthers off the board? This Panthers team that's excited to come. This Panthers team with Chuba Hubbard not leaving the bench because he cost his team a win. This Panthers team that's coming to the facility every day right now, pumped up. They have their leader. They have their quarterback. They have their nucleus. I mean, this is the shit I fucking love, man. This is the type of capping I love. This is why we were so bullish on the Panthers last week. And I'm going there again.
Dude, you're doing a good job. You are a good salesman, brother.
I'm not trying to sell nothing. I'm just telling you what I'm on and how I feel about it. A lot of cappers here. We got LJ from H-Town, a bunch of guys, a true teller who think that the Eagles are going to smash and grab. That's all well and good. But you know what I'm on. And I'm going to think about this Chuba prop. I'm going to study it. It's going to take a lot of study because the Eagles are such a good ground team. But obviously that'll be baked into the number for Chuba. This guy, I just love him. And him being Canadian has nothing to do with it. This guy is a heart and soul guy, wears his heart on his sleeve. He's a team player. And that was a bad fumble. Did you see him? Did you see the pic of him sitting there on the bench? Everybody's gone and he's just sitting there.
It was awesome.
Love that shit. All right, that's going to be a fun one. Let's roll. Jermaine, I'm not saying you're wrong or anything like that, but this offense is much different than it has been. So let's roll. True Teller says fading teams going nowhere is my bread and butter. Well, then don't fade the Panthers. because they're playing their best football in how many years? They have a quarterback that they believe in. They're excited to come to the facility. This is not a team going nowhere. This is not a team that's not playing for anything. You don't think Dave Canales has a kick in his step and he's, just so pumped up? Now they get to test themselves against a very good football team. Now, it's totally fine that we disagree on things, and it's just, part of the fun. I've said my piece. We roll on. Next up for us, 1 p.m. Eastern, Cleveland Browns 3-9, 1-5 on the road. The Pittsburgh Steelers 9-3, 4-1 at home. Ronnie Crawford says, "I'll see you at the window." I love it, Ron. My man just swept the board. Truth Teller says they're out of the playoffs. Yes, they are, but a team being out of the playoffs doesn't mean that they have nothing to play for when you have a rookie head coach and a quarterback who just about lost his career after going first overall. So we can disagree. It's all good. Browns Steelers, Acrisure Stadium, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 42 Fahrenheit, mostly sunny, 10 miles per hour. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have a 44. The main book I follow for line history is not opened this game up yet. Let's see if they have now, and it's just not listed. No, this is not available yet, which is interesting. Here, this is an offshore book we used to do poker tournaments at. It opened up at 40.5. Now that was before Sunday, but after Sunday, this was a 41.
Wait, why is this closed at where?
I don't know. Because it's about time that they would have opened it up.
It was open earlier.
It was?
Yeah.
I thought I read the line history, but I was like, maybe I didn't.
I thought it was open earlier. I'm pretty sure it was.
Why would they pull it from the board, which is what they've done? So that's interesting. We have a total at 44 right now, minus 116 to the over. It's juiced quite heavily to the over here. And after watching the Browns game, after watching the Bengals Steelers game, I could understand why anybody would be going on betting the over here in this one. On the spread, we have Cleveland +7 at minus 120. They opened up +6 at minus 110. That was the look ahead. Then when this line opened up, it opened up at a 6. So then it moved to 7 here. Let's take a look at the cash flow for the Browns. Steelers, we have Browns, of course, on a short week. 21% of the tickets, 26% of the cash on the Browns. Steelers probably have something for them because of that 23-19 victory for Cleveland in the snow just 2 weeks ago. 81% of the tickets and 86% of cash on the over. We have the Browns team passing offense 13th. I mean, it's just climbing with famous Jameis at quarterback, 226.8 yards per game. Rushing offense 30th. Nick Chubb is not looking good and did not look good last night against Denver. 30th in the league, 87.3 yards per game. Red zone offense 7th at 60%. Their third down offense is the worst in the league. They only convert 29.2% of the time. Passing defense is 20th, 221 yards per game. Rushing defense 23rd, 128.6 yards per game. And red zone defense 24th. They're allowing touchdowns 61.1% of the time. I mean, who would have thought the Browns defense would be this bad? Third down defense 12th. They allow conversions 35.3% time. That's the only defensive stat that they're not horrible in. They come in off a short week after that roller coaster 41-32 loss at Denver. Browns lose despite outgaining the Broncos 552-400. I mean, it's the craziest game of quarterback play I think I've ever seen. Certainly one I'll remember for the rest of my life. Famous Jameis, 34-58 for a franchise record, 497 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 2 of which were returned for 4 touchdowns. 2 of them were pick sixes. I mean, just unbelievable. Listen to this, Troy. The Broncos had 171 interception return yards. Have you ever heard that before? I mean,
I had the team total under for the Broncos. So can you imagine the pain I was in pretty much immediately?
Jerry Jeudy was an absolute monster. Old Judge Jeudy against his former team, 9 receptions, 235 yards and a touchdown. The most yards in NFL history for a receiver against a former team. Elijah Moore caught 8 for 111. Jerome Ford ran 9 for 41, caught a 21-yard pass. Chubb struggled, 9 carries for 21 yards, did catch 2 for 24 and a touchdown, big touchdown, but he's struggling. Browns were 11 of 21 on 3rd and 4th down combined, 3 of 4 in the red zone. This offense looks pretty good, man. Defense held the Broncos to just 6 of 13 on 3rd down, 2 of 4 in the red zone. It would have been enough if Winston hadn't thrown those 2 pick sixes. Pass rush was completely invisible, completely. 0 sacks, 2 quarterback hits. Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome had picks. Let's talk about these Steelers. It's just such a fascinating football team right now. You have to forget everything that you remember from the Pittsburgh Steelers when you watch this team play. Passing offense, 20th in the league, 210.9 yards per game. Rushing offense, 9th, 133.1. Red zone offense. When you think of how many points the Steelers are putting up, their red zone offense is the 4th worst in the entire league. It's the 29th in the league, only converting 45.2% of the time. 3rd down offense is strong, 39.2% conversion rate, 13th. Passing defense, 19th, 220.5. Rush defense, 4th, 90.5. Red zone defense, 15th. They're allowing touchdowns 55.3% time. 3rd down defense is strong, 34% the time they allow conversions. Steelers coming off an impressive 44-38 victory at Cincinnati. They outgained the Bengals 520 to 375. The offense looked dynamite. 7.9 yards per play. Russ Wilson is cooking. 29 of 38, 414 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 5-1 as a Steeler starter. That's the 2nd most passing yards of his entire career. It was 27-21 at halftime, the highest scoring first half in all 110 meetings between those two teams, Troy. In the history of these two teams playing against each other, that was the highest scoring first half of Pittsburgh Cincinnati. I mean, that's just nuts. Wilson had 257 yards passing in the first half. It's just crazy. What do we say? Pickens caught 3 for 74 in a touchdown. Freiermuth caught 6 for 68 in a touchdown. Najee Harris ran 16 times for 75 yards in a touchdown. Caught 6 passes for 54 yards. He's really stepping up. Jalen Warren's not running the ball that well, but Jalen Warren looks awesome out of the backfield receiving. TJ Watt led the pass rush with 2 sacks and 5 quarterback hits. You know, TJ Watt, Chris Jones, 2 superstars in the league, been kind of quiet the last little while. Both had big Sundays. Pass rush combined for 4 sacks and 11 quarterback hits, but they had great difficulty slowing down the Bengals. Bengals went 4 of 8 for 3rd down and 4 of 5 in the red zone. Dante Jackson had to pick. Calvin Austin in concussion protocol. And the big story is Mike Tomlin said Alex Highsmith is going to play. They expect him to play Sunday unless there's a mishap in practice. He's missed 3 straight games. Through 6 games this year, Highsmith had 3 sacks, 19 tackles. He's going to be back with Watt and Herbig and Preston Smith as these monster edge rushers. So here we have a total of 44 when these two teams just combined to put up 76 points last week, Troy. Make some sense of it all. Take it away.
This is a great game. I love this game, but I don't love betting on Browns games anymore, to be honest. It's funny. You get Jameis Winston going up against one of the best pass defenses in the NFL. No problem. He gives them 500. He gives them 500 passing yards, rolls out of bed, throws for 6 touchdowns, 4 to his team, 2 to the other team. You watch him play, I swear to God, this is what it reminds me of. You get to tell this man has severe ADHD, in my opinion, pointed out by my wife. And when you take away his option, he kind of reminds me of Geno Smith, but when you take away his first option, he kind of panics. Like you could see, he gets stuck. And it reminds me of how I used to be in Madden and why I was always a guy predicated on building the best rushing attacks. Because when you took away my first option, I kind of shit the bed because I was so laser focused on one route, one play, one combination that take that away, I'm stuck. So yeah, it was really interesting that I really can't make sense of what I seen last night to this point. It's funny too, this game, even though I was in pain because I had the team total under, me and my wife were watching it and we see Patrick Surtain make a play. I'm like, yeah, him and Judy, they used to play together. Surtain's an up-and-comer. He's like Sauce Gardner. They're both up-and-comers. And then, like, moments later, Ward picks off Bo Nix. My wife turns to me and says, Surtain and Sauce are up-and-comers, but Ward already came. I'm like, you're damn right, Ward already came. Because I'm a big Ward fan. I always talk shit about I always talk about him when I'm watching the games. The biggest flaw with this Browns team is they cannot run the football. I try to parlay or pair a corollary point with my Madden offense with this Browns offense because I could run the football. So I had other options. This Browns team cannot run the ball. And it's not like it's Chubb's fault or Ford's fault. This offensive line is not generating line yards. Even last year when they were at full strength. And I was wondering last year when I was watching the game, I was like, they're just letting Flacco drop back and throw it 40 times. Well, I don't know if it's a bad design, bad scheme, bad blocking scheme. I don't know what it is. They seem to run a lot of gap concept. But something's wrong. It's broken. It's been multiple years. They cannot run the ball, so they have to rely on famous Jameis to drop back and throw it 40 times, which you're going to get inconsistent results. So, the defense, they deserve a better rap than what they're kind of getting this season. They're somewhere in between where they were last season of elite and where they are this season of really bad. But if you look at down-to-down football, this defense is definitely not what it has been in years past. If you look at EPA and also, when you look at EPA on the other side, you look at the Steelers' offense and their EPA, and you look at down-to-down EPA, you could tell like this team is due for some regression. You read between the lines, and you could see that some of this third down EPA, the third down EPA numbers are off the charts. They cannot continue. Like, it will not continue. And if it does, it's an extreme outlier. So, and this goes back to the market I talked about earlier in the Jets-Dolphins game. I mean, if this line starts moving towards the Browns in any way, shape, or form, which it probably will because it usually does about 80% of the time when a line opens between 6 and 7, it moves towards the road team, the road dog in division. So I'll be looking towards the Browns in this matchup. You look at the Steelers at home as favorites. They're 1-7 ATS the past 2 seasons. They obviously perform much better as dogs than they do as favorites, especially 6 points is a lot of points. The only thing keeping me off this number right now is, I know the Steelers have revenge. If I knew I could count on 3.5, 4 yards per carry from the Browns, I'd be on the Browns multiple ways, but I can't count on that. So I don't know what to do with this game. Browns or pass.
I find it very difficult. Whenever there is a low total, I know it's up to 44 now, when we just see two teams score, basically pick their number, put up 70 plus points combined, I don't want anything to do with the over. I've just been around that for too long in my life. And so that takes me off of the over, even though, of course, anybody who watched last week would be running to the window to bet it. And then, I'm not entirely sure what it's like with Winston coming back into the facility today or on Wednesday, but I don't think they're down and out because we saw them down and out with Deshaun Watson. So I don't know. I need to sit with this for longer. It is a short week for the Browns, but they have hope in that football team. I don't understand what happened to this defense and this pass rush, and the game makes me very uncomfortable. Just judging what we just saw, you would think, well, the Steelers will take care of business here because they'll be the Rebenga from the loss 2 weeks ago in Cleveland. But it's uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable capping the game. I'm uncomfortable thinking about it. So we have a lean at this point from to the Browns from Troy, but it's not going to be any action here for me. So at this point, so are you ready to roll on?
Yeah, let's roll.
I have moved on to our next game. Let's go 1 p.m. Eastern. Las Vegas Raiders 2-10, 1-6 on the road. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers 6-6, 2-4 at home at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. 72 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 3 miles per hour. Very, very beautiful weather for football. Let's get into the line history here. We have 6.5 across the board. The 7, it opened up at 7.5. It moved to 7. The 7 was heavily juiced. There was actually a move about an hour and a half ago, about a 6 or 7 cent move towards the Buccaneers. That was the first kind of buyback that we've seen here, but we still see 6.5s right across the board. And then on the total, we have a 47. Now we see 46s across the board, but this has come up from 44.5 in the last 48 hours. The 47 is juiced to the under pretty heavily. But so I guess it's a 46.5, but it doesn't matter how you look at it. It's moved at least 2 points to the over. When we get to the cash flow for this one, we have 53% of the tickets and 60% of the cash on the Raiders, 70% of tickets and 86% cash on the over. I'm very curious to see where this line ends here, where it closes. Let's talk about the Raiders first. I have bet on the Raiders at plus 6.5. You guys know one of my favorite angles in sports, and it's just over and over and over and over again, is when a quarterback sits and watches. You shut up and you watch and you'll learn. And I prefer, as you guys know, if a quarterback to watch mediocre, pedestrian quarterback play. Watch some good things, watch a lot of bad things. When you watch great quarterback play, it's intimidating. I don't think it helps. You think about, I don't know if I can do that. When you watch pedestrian quarterback play, you see when a quarterback is doing something right, and you see when they're doing something wrong, and you think, well, I think I'm better than that. And Aiden O'Connell delivered that in an enormous way. We also talk about quarterbacks who are trying to save their careers. We saw a lot of quarterbacks lose their careers last year. There was a quarterback for the Washington Commanders named Sammy Howell. Nobody said his name this year. There's many, many Howells, many, many quarterbacks from last year that aren't around. Bryce Young was about to be another casualty. And you know who else was? Aiden O'Connell was going to be another casualty. But he got lucky. He didn't play his way in. He might not have got to start again, but he got the opportunity and he stepped up. And this Buccaneers secondary is full of holes and injuries. Why can't the Raiders keep this a close game? Because this team is playing their heart out for Antonio Pierce. This team is fighting. This team is 2-10 and is coming to the facility ready to break through walls for their coach. Let's roll. We have passing offense for the Raiders, 14th, 226.3 yards per game. The rushing offense is the worst in the league, 32nd. But you know what? Let Sincere McCormick cook. I've seen enough of Alexander Madison to never want to see him again. Zamir White's done nothing. Rushing offense being bad, but looked better last week. Red zone offense, 28th to 48.4%. Third down offense, 26th, 34.6%. Passing defense, 14th to 212.9 yards per game. Rushing defense, 11th, allowing 114.8 yards per game. Red zone defense, 22nd. They allow touchdowns 59.6% of the time. And third down defense, 22nd. They're allowing conversions 41.4% of the time. They have extra rest and prep. I like that a lot. They played Friday. They lost 19-17 to the Chiefs. The only thing I didn't like about it was Antonio Pierce saying he didn't watch the hike. What was by Jackson Powers Johnson? He said that snap that was watched. He said he didn't watch it. I know he watched it. Like I saw the clip of him watching it, and it looked like he was going to cry. I don't know why he had to lie like that. It's just a dumb lie. It helps nobody. I didn't watch it. I won't get into it, but it's a real. I won't get into it, but I didn't like the stupid lie. I watched him watch it. They outgained the Chiefs 434 to 329. Again, the botch snap, it doesn't matter. This wasn't a win to get in. This wasn't, we need to win this game to get in the playoffs. This was not, yes, they wanted to win the football game, but they played great football. And let's go back to the facility. Let's regroup and let's do it again, because Antonio Pierce is a rah-rah coach like Dan Campbell. There's a few of them out there that get the most out of their players. This is one of them. Aiden O'Connell, 23 of 35 for 340 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He did lose a fumble. Brock Bowers rolling, 10 catches for 140 yards, touchdown. Jacoby Myers caught 6 for 97. And Sincere McCormick ran 12 times for 64 yards. Raiders offense, 3 of 12 in the red zone. 3 of 12 on third down. Only had 1 red zone attempt, which they didn't capitalize on. Defense looked strong. Held the Chiefs to 4.9 yards per play. Held them to 1 of 5 in the red zone. And for a change, the pass rush looked very good. 4 sacks, 12 quarterback hits. This is a crazy team. They've trailed by double digits in every game this year. They just keep firing, and I think they can fight here against the Buccaneers, coming off this overtime win at Carolina that they didn't deserve. Their passing offense, 6th in the league, 238.8 yards per game. Rushing offense, 8th, 137.2. Red zone offense, 3rd, 66.7% of the time they're scoring. And their third down offense, 2nd, 47.6% of the time. This offense is good. Their pass defense is 30th in the league at 248.3 yards per game. Well, there's only one way the Raiders are going to attack you, and that's through the air. Their rush defense is 12th. We know they got Big Vita Vea there in the middle, 117.2 yards per game they allow. Their red zone defense, 13th. They only allow touchdowns 53.3% of the time. Their third down defense is 24th. They allow conversions 42.9% of the time. Baker Mayfield was 21 of 33 for 235 yards, touchdown, 2 picks. Did fumble twice. Was very fortunate not to lose either. Look, he's 4-0 against the Panthers. They cut him in 2022. He holds a grudge. He plays well. Mikey Evans caught 8 passes for 118 yards in the touchdown. Shout out to Birdie. It was his prediction. He took the over 110 yards for Mike Evans at plus 500. What a monster Bird he is. Bucky Irving ran 25 times for a career high 152 yards and a touchdown, caught 3 for 33. We talk about, how good Bucky Irving looked against the rush attack, but the offense was just 2 of 12 on third down against the Panthers team that can't stop the run. 2 of 12, just 2 of 5 in the red zone. Now, the defense held the Panthers to 6 of 16 on third down and 1 of 4 in the red zone. The pass rush had 1 sack. Now, they did get 11 quarterback hits, so they were dynamic. But let's talk more. The Buccaneers lose KJ Britt to an ankle injury. They lose Mike Edwards to a hamstring injury. Both are listed as questionable this week. Did you see what it looked like when Mike Edwards, they've already lost a bunch in the secondary. Do you see what it looked like when Mike Edwards wasn't playing safety? The Panthers were getting anything that they wanted. And they would have won that game outright if, Chuba hadn't have fumbled. The Raiders can keep this game close. They can stay within 6.5. Now, I want this line to close at 5.5. And you're going to hear a different side of the story from Troy right now. So, Troy, take it away. Raiders at the Buccaneers.
Again, man. I'm sure that if you're not a professional handicapper, you have a good job waiting for you in the sales industry somewhere, because very compelling points, very good points, and I don't want to knock every single point. So what I'm going to say here is that I agree. Like what we've seen with the Raiders, what they were able to do against Kansas City was very impressive. But I go back to, you guys know my sentiment with KC. I believe they're overrated. Was there new schematics because O'Connell was playing quarterback? I think there was some new schematics you've seen. There was some new play design. There was some new ways to get the run game involved because they were able to run the ball for the first time. Really, it was the first time they looked like a competent offense, both passing and running, that I've seen all season. And I believe O'Connell's clearly an upgrade over Minshew, and I think the performance he put together proves that to be true. So why are they priced as 6.5, 7-point dogs against this Bucs team? Just barely beat the Panthers, kind of in shambles. They got some injuries building up. So the reason I think that we're seeing this number where it currently is, obviously the Raiders haven't been very good all season. So I'm trying to figure out, are we paying a price for this Bucs team? Are we buying high? Are we selling low? What are we doing here? And it's really hard to figure out. But what I did notice is that this Raiders team performs terribly after playing the Chiefs, especially offensively, especially the past 2 seasons with this head coach at the helm and the quarterback situation in shambles. Even though I do believe O'Connell is a step up, this defense is terrible in coverage. Their advanced metrics are awful. They're even worse versus elite passing attacks, and I believe the Bucs are developing into an elite passing attack. This team's coverage grade per PFF is 33.3. That's 40% lower than the 31st ranked team. So that's a significant drop off, over 1 standard deviation away from the 31st ranked team. And you wonder why. It's because, first of all, they're not generating any pressure, bottom 10 in pressure rate. They're bottom 5 in pass rush per PFF. And this is one of the worst tackling teams in football. So, I mean, just considering all that, considering that I think that they came off a very difficult game against KC, that's hard to swallow, especially when you're going on the road. In this case, we backed the Panthers, who I think were a little bit rejuvenated. They had their rookie quarterback. I just feel like it's not a very similar spot to this Panther spot, especially going from, being back out on the road again.
9 days.
Database,
9 days, not 7.
Yeah, they get extra rest, more time to travel, but non-divisional home favorites. We talked about the divisional home favorites in this price range, how we don't, I want to back the Browns. I wanted to back the Jets. I'm not backing the Jets, but I want to back the Browns in this similar market. But when you flip it and you don't look at divisional favorites, you look at non-divisional home favorites in this price range. After the line moves already towards the road team, like it has, the home team is 9-5 ATS, 10-5 straight up. So you take it a step deeper. Sharp action, the bigger bets, which is currently on the Raiders. I expected it to be on the Raiders all week. Well, the sharp action only covers 21% of the time. That sample moves to 8-2 ATS for the home team. Omit that variable now, and let's look at when the total's over 41. So you got a higher total, not too high. I don't want to say over 44 in this case because we're not looking at a 47, 48. So I want an even distribution on both sides of the number. So the total's over 41 in this sample. Home team 7-1 ATS, 8-1 straight up. If you get both of those variables together in this market, 6-0 ATS, winning by 22 points on average. I could definitely see this being a blowout for the Bucks. I moved on the Bucks -6.5. And Jimmy asked me the question because we were talking a little bit, just very, very briefly before the show. I was on the Bucks, he was on the Raiders, and he said, "What happens if we see this at a 5.5? What if it dips to 6?" Well, then I become a lot less bullish. And if it goes to 5.5, I'll be looking to back the Raiders on the money line. And that's how much belief, that's how much faith I have in the data I look at.
Why are we not on the over 46? I know that we could have gotten in on it earlier. It's too bad that we're not on the over 44.5 already. But if we know that both offenses are going to be able to move the ball through the air easily, why are we not on the over 46? If you were right and the Buccaneers blow out the Raiders, it goes over. If the Raiders are in this game, it goes over. I mean, I know it's hard to figure out ways that it doesn't go over. That Panthers-Buccaneers game should have soared over. We know that there was 13 points off the board there with the 2 missed field goals and I guess no, because you got I guess that's 10 points. 10 points off the board when they didn't count the Thielen touchdown and kicked the field goal instead. I mean, that game should have soared over. Why is this game not going to go over?
It's funny. So looking at this sample again, looking at this sample of market history, the market move on the total. So whichever way the market moved on the total has been wrong in every single game.
Really?
But listen to this. So it's 50-50 on the over and the under. And the games that have gone over, 90 points, 63 points, 60 points, 50 points. The games that have gone under have gone way under. This is not that type of game that goes way under the total. I think the 0-6 on the market move for the total is an aberration, not a rule of thumb, is what that's telling me. And I'm interested. I'm definitely interested in an over.
Yeah, so am I. I think I move on, and after the show, I think it keeps climbing. I think the 46. I think you just got to make sure that you get under that 47. All right, we roll on. I already bet the +6.5. So Troy, you have the -6.5. That was at which is one of the rare occurrences where we're on the other side of each other. Bucks -6.5. That was -110.
-108. I got a few -108s in my.
Nice. Every cent helps. All right, we roll on. Next up for us, we head to afternoon action, and here we go. Double up spot for me. I'm on the under 44.5. Now, I know everybody saw the Seattle-Arizona game where 22 points were scored. People are now moving on the under. It's and I hate going back to a well when we've all seen a very low scoring game and then they put up a total, line starts moving to the under. I usually stay off, and I tried to. But capping this Arizona Cardinals defense, capping how important this football game is, I decided that anything over 44 was worth betting. So I'm on the under 44.5. I'm on the Cardinals -2.5. That Seattle Jets game that Troy was on the under, as we said, it hit 47. Only 517 total yards of offense. It shouldn't have gone over. Let's talk about this one. State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Seahawks 4-1 on the road. Cardinals 4-2 at home. Let's get into the line history here for this one. This total sitting at 44.5. I got -110. You can get -110. The book I'm looking at right now has this -113 to the under. And the only uncomfort I have is because I cashed on this so easily 2 weeks ago. When we get to the spread, we have the -2.5 at -110. I got it at -110 at 365. I sent it in instead of using liquid for it, and -110 on each side. At the book I'm looking at right now, if you want Seattle +2.5, they'll give it to you at -103. Now it's only -110 on Arizona, so I was getting the same price either way. But I think it's a telling line. Let's get into the cash flow here. We have our first afternoon spot on the board. 77% of the tickets and 97% of the cash on the Seattle Seahawks. Oh, I just love saying it. I just want to say it again. 97% of the cash on the spread on the Seahawks. The money line, 37% of the tickets, not as many, but 69% of the cash on the Seahawks, because they're all seeing what happened out of the break with McDonald, and that's great. I like that. I want that. 41% of the tickets, 59% of cash on the under. Start with the Seahawks. Their passing offense second in the league, 250.3 yards per game. Their passing offense, their rushing offense 28th. Kenneth Walker does not look good. Zach Charbonnet had a game last week, and thank God it was just a couple pass plays that worked for him. I think he had a few carries for quite a few yards, but Kenneth Walker, I don't know what the hell's going on with him. Red zone offense 12th. They score touchdowns 56.7% of the time. Their third down offense middling 19th. They convert 37.2% of the time. Passing defense 12th. It's getting better, 210.6 yards per game they allow. Their rushing defense 21st. They allow 127 yards on the ground. Their red zone defense is 14th at 53.5%. Their third down defense 17th, 38.4%. They come in off their third straight win, 26-21 at the Jets, taking over sole possession of first place in the NFC West after the Cards lost to Minnesota. Look, Geno Smith was the 39th overall pick by the Jets in 2013. And he went 20 of 31 for 206 yards and a touchdown. It was his first game as starter against the Jets at MetLife Stadium. The reason why I bring it up is I like Geno Smith. I like the way he leads. This is what he said after the game. He said, I'm not going to make it about myself. First off, right there, I'm like, oh, God. I mean, I compare everything to Aaron Rodgers these days. He's like, I'm not going to make it about myself when he could have easily, and a lot of young quarterbacks would have. I really did enjoy my time in New York. We're on a mission right now. The Jets were the next opponent. That's a quarterback, man. That's a leader of men, says stuff like that. Jackson Smith and the Jigba led receivers with 4 catches for 74 yards. DK Metcalf caught 4 for 66. But they only put up 259 total yards of offense. And now they're on the road again. They were just 4-13 on third down. Yes, they went 2 or 3 in the red zone. Kenneth Walker just underwhelms week in and week out. 16 carries for 49 yards. He fumbled. Fortunate not to lose it. The defense kept the Seahawks in it. Held the Jets to 258 yards, but that's not saying that much. Shut them out in the second half. I mean, that's pretty good. Held the Jets at 6 of 16 on third and fourth down combined. Leonard Williams was simply spectacular. I mean, he's playing out of his mind right now, and he's leading the way. He became the first player since 1982 with multiple sacks, an interception return for a touchdown, and a blocked kick in the same game. I mean, also, that interception return for a touchdown was the longest in NFL history by a defensive lineman. Leonard Williams, man, playing big boy minutes out there. Let's get to the Cardinals here. Passing offense, 22nd, 205.9 yards per game. Rushing offense, 6th. They get 141.4 yards per game on the ground. Red zone offense, 23rd, 52.6%. Third down offense, 10th, 41.1%. Their pass defense, 18th, 217.5 yards per game. Their rush defense is 13th. They allow 117.3 yards per game. Both of those statistics are improving very quickly. Their red zone defense has been very strong all year, 7th in the league. They allow touchdowns just 48.8% of the time. And their issue has been this third down defense. It's been their issue here for a while. It's getting better. It's just it was so horrific in the beginning of the year that when we're using year-long statistics, it's getting better. It's getting much better. They're coming off a disappointing 23-22 loss in Minnesota. They lost despite outgaining the Vikings 406-273. Kyler Murray 31-45 for 260 yards, touchdown, 2 picks. He also ran 7 times for 48 yards. McBride caught 12 passes for 96 yards. He's becoming a superstar. Marvin Harrison Jr. caught 5 for 16, a touchdown. He didn't until they put Fabian Moreau on him, and he just started burning him. James Conner ran 17 times for 68 yards, caught 3 for 13. Now, they lost the game in the red zone. And the red zone offense hasn't been very good this year. They lost the game in the red zone. They were 1 of 6. The defense was extremely strong until the Vikings' last 3 possessions. I don't know how you want to deal with that. I still believe in this defense. When the Vikings scored a touchdown with 1:17 left in the third quarter, that was just their second touchdown that the Cardinals allowed in 15 quarters. That's it. They held the Vikings to 1 of 8 on third down, 2 of 4 in the red zone, 5 sacks, 8 quarterback hits. Mack Wilson all over the field, 7 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hits. And look who's around all of a sudden, Darius Robinson. First round pick. We didn't see him all year because of the calf injury. Makes his NFL debut. He's going to get more snap shares as they go on. I know these teams so well. I love capping the NFC West. Double down on this one. I'm on the Cardinals -2.5. I'm on the under 44.5. Take it away, Troy.
Well, in this case, I'm sold. Jimmy the Bag sold me. Obviously, I have my own reasons. I have database backup and support to back this play up. I'm on both of these, and I'm not letting this total fly by again. Getting the under 44.5 is a blessing. I think we close below the 44. If history is going to repeat itself, which usually it does to some extent. And you get the Cardinals. You get the back the Cardinals at 2.5. I got it 2.5 minus 110. One game removed from this loss to Seattle, immediate revenge opportunity. And they deserved the better result in that game against Seattle a few weeks ago. If you look at yards per play, you look at EPA, you look at some of the advanced metrics, they deserved the better shake. Now, he made one bad play in the red zone that turned into a pick six, and that was the difference in the game. But now they come home in a much more comfortable, warm environment, must-win spot, could take the division lead back with just one win, laying 3 points after losing by margin a few weeks ago. I think the Cardinals in this must-win spot must be back. And then you get to fade the Seahawks off a W2 coming off that extreme high of Geno going back. And I'm not like you. Yeah, I love the comments that you hear from a guy like that. I think he definitely has to have a character being a starting quarterback in the NFL when you have the skill set that he has, which I think is there's not that much to love with Geno Smith. Yeah, but again, I mean, their offense only managed 4.5 yards per play in that win against the Jets. They cannot run the ball. Their offensive line is average at best, and I think they're below average, even though they've been playing a little bit better lately. The Cardinals' defense is uptrending. I expect them to continue to uptrend because that's what they've been doing. I'm on the Cardinals minus 2.5. I'm on the under 44.5. I'm right there with you, Jim.
I love it. Dougie Wise, 2, says this is his strongest play this Sunday. I love it. I really like what's happening in both cities. I'm excited about the football we're going to see in this division moving forward. These two teams are going to be going up against each other. Two good teams. They're going to be better next year as well. I can't wait for this football game. Can't wait. Let's roll on. Troy and I both on the Cardinals. Before we do roll on, actually, Jose, if you could go back here a second, what was the line that you got on the Cardinals?
Cardinals minus 2.5, minus 110, and minus 110 on the under 44.5.
Okay, so exact same as me. No. All right, we roll. And I tried to get myself off that under all day because I'd cashed on it 2 weeks ago. I went over all, okay, how am I going to lose this bet? What's going to happen? I tried so hard to get off of it because I don't like going back to the well. And I'm going back to the well in a few different spots because I felt forced to. And that's okay with me. All right, let's roll on. Next up for us, a beauty. 4:25 p.m. Eastern. We have the Buffalo Bills 10-2, 4-2 on the road at the LA Rams, 6-6, 3-3 at home. We're at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. Let's get into the line history here. We have the Bills minus 4.5 at minus 107. They open up minus 4.5 at minus 102, being very little movement on the side. The look ahead was 3.5, and now it's a 4.5, which is interesting because the Rams played well. I mean, I know they were shut out in the first half, but they played well. And I know the Bills dominated, but I'm a little surprised that the look ahead was just 3.5. This total is at 49. It's juiced to the over at minus 114. I really like unders in LA Rams games. I love how methodical McVay is. I love how long we wait for Stafford to snap the ball. Like I love unders in Rams games. But I'm not on one yet, or I'm not on one here. There's been 7 cents of movement to the over. Opened up at 49 minus 107. It's now 49 minus 114. Let's move on to the cash flow for this one. 77% of tickets and 89% of cash on the Bills. This line not moving towards them. I mean, a few cents, but there's 65% of tickets on the over, 49% of cash. So 35 and 51 on the under, which is pretty appealing here if you can get there. Let's start with the Bills. Passing offense, just 17th in the league, 219.9 yards per game. You have a quarterback in Josh Allen really playing within himself, not trying to do too much. They just won 35-10, and he threw 17 passes for 148 yards, 13 completions. Rushing offense 11th. You know, the mistake I made last year capping this team was not understanding how good James Cook was. You know, he's playing at a very high level. Red zone offense, third in the league, 66.7%. Having Josh Allen at quarterback is an enormous advantage because he can do so many different things, as we saw last week when he even caught a pass in the red zone for a touchdown. Third down offense, 8th, 42.7% conversion rate. Passing defense, 8th. They allow 199.7 yards per game through the air. Rush defense, 18th, 121.9. Red zone defense is looking good, 8th in the league. They allow touchdowns 50% of the time. Their third down defense is 20th. They allow conversions 40% of the time. Coming off their 5th straight win, dominant 35-10 victory at home over the 49ers in the driving snow. They are the 8th team and the first since 2009, that was the 2009 Colts, to clinch a division title with 5 games remaining. They extended their run of 30 or more points to 6 straight games. So if they've scored 30 or more points in 6 straight games, the spread is a 4.5. Well, obviously the market doesn't think they're going to score 30 points in this football game. The total's at 49.5. They're 4.5-point favorites. I mean, it's pretty easy math. Josh Allen was 13 of 17 for 148 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also ran 3 times for 18 yards touchdown. The first quarterback and 7th player in Super Bowl era to score a touchdown passing, rushing, and receiving. Dawson Knox led receivers with 2 catches for 56 yards. Cook ran 14 times for 107 and a touchdown. Also caught a 13-yard pass. And Ray Davis, Ray ran 11 times for 63 yards and a touchdown. Bills combined for 220 yards on 38 carries with 3 touchdowns on the ground. I mean, that's just monstrous. 7 of 13 on 3rd and 4th down. Perfect 4 for 4 in the red zone. Held the Niners to 3 of 10 on 3rd down and 1 of 3 in the red zone. But the pass rush was very quiet in the victory. They didn't have to do too much, and they didn't. 1 sack, 1 quarterback hit. Talk about the Rams. Passing offense 11th in the league, 230.8 yards per game. Rushing offense just 26th. Just 100.2 yards per game for them. Red zone offense 19th, just 53.5% conversion rate. We've been waiting for that to improve with, you know, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua healthy for a while. It's not. Their third down offense is still the 3rd worst in the NFL. You ask why I love betting unders in Rams games, because they don't convert third downs and they punt a lot. Passing defense 15th, 214.9 yards per game through the air. Rush defense 28th. They allow 144.2 yards on the ground. Red zone defense has been very strong. Again, why do you like unders in the Rams game? 6th in the league. They only allow touchdowns 46.5% of the time. Under 50 is a great number. Third down defense 19th at 39.7%. Coming off a crucial 21-14 victory at the Saints. Stafford 14 of 24 for 183 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Puka Nacua caught 5 for 56 and a touchdown. Demarcus Robinson went for 49 yards and a touchdown through receiving. Kyron Williams ran 15 times for 104 yards and a touchdown, also caught a 9-yard pass. They won the game in the red zone, which has been such a problem with them this year. So are we going to start seeing a Rams team late in the season start becoming extremely effective offensively? It's a real possibility. They're 3 for 3 in the red zone. They were 4 of 9 on 3rd down. They held the Saints to just 4.8 yards per play, 5 of 15 on 3rd down, and 0 of 2 in the red zone. But the pass rush was very quiet. And that was that's a problem with this cap, because that was a makeshift offensive line that the Saints were using. They did not have McCoy in the lineup. They were moving pieces around. They lost the Saldiveri. So it was a makeshift offensive line, and this pass rush couldn't take advantage of it. We've seen this pass rush look good at times, but couldn't take advantage. 0 sacks, 3 quarterback hits. Take it away, Troy. I'm all ears. This is a big one. A lot of bum fights this week. This isn't one of them. Bills, Rams at SoFi.
Ooh, this is a very, very tough game. I talked about how I cashed on this Rams team thanks to my boy TC, Tim Crowley. And right here, my gut instinct looking at this number is to go right back to the well. But immediately I go to the database and find that, you know, these home teams that open between 3.5 and 5.5 are terrible ATS, especially when the bigger bets are on the road team, even all the bets are on the road team. It doesn't matter. Like, even more so when the total's over 44. And I know we're sitting right around 44 right now, but I mean, I don't know exactly what I expect where this spread or total to move. And I mean, I look at how inefficient the market is in this price range. If I wanted the Bills, I'd much rather get this at 3.5. 3 obviously would be the most ideal scenario. I think that this line movement between 3 and 5 is misleading, unless we are talking about a number that moved through a 6. Once you omit it, you look at lines that open less than 6 and move around this number above 3 and below 6. It's nothing. Like it's misleading at best. We haven't seen this number move yet. It looks like it's going to move towards the Bills, maybe up into 5.5. I'm not sure exactly what to expect. But how could you want to back the Bills here? I know. I think maybe it's because Josh Allen's brand new fiance is in the crowd. Maybe it's because the Bills have looked like the best team in the AFC by far. But I just can't get there on either side because I think the Bills traveling across country, obviously maybe priced. I don't know if this is the market top with this team. I mean, 4.5 on the road against LA. I mean, it's a pretty strong number. The Rams coming off a game where they scored 0 points in the first half against the Saints. I talked about Stafford having his worst season of his entire career. His offensive line continuously underperforms. The defense, while it's overperforming expectations, still around league average outside of the red zone. There's plenty of data points that suggest this team is down year over year and is not a good team to back in this spot. So right now I'm off of this game, but I think I'm only looking to back the Bills in this situation. I'm probably not going to get to the window in this game at all.
What do you think of the under? It looks like it might go up a little bit. But the Rams have the 6th ranked red zone defense going up against this Bills red zone offense that's so dynamic. You have two teams that focus on moving the ball on the ground no matter what, so they keep the opposition off the field. You have McVay, who is a strategist of the highest level. There's only one way to have a chance to beat the Bills, and that's to have the ball for at least 35 minutes of this football game.
We know both teams are going to want to run the football. And I believe that the Rams' run defense is better than it's perceived to be. I think the under is a pretty sharp look in this game. I know that the sample I was looking at historically with this type of market is more of a 50-50 proposition, which surprised me too, because when you start talking about the under, I started getting bullish because I know that these home dogs of less than a touchdown is typically a great spot or typically a great profile for an under, but it's more 50-50 in this situation. And it's kind of confusing me too. One of the hardest markets to gauge is when it's sitting at 44. It's sitting at the key number. That's a tough one, Jim. That's a tough one. I feel like I can't give a great opinion on it.
50 points going to be scored on this one. I mean, let's look at how many points have been scored against the Bills of late, and then let's probably not look at the weather games. You know, maybe it'll be a better opportunity if we only look at indoor games here. So why don't we just quickly go over this and then we'll move on.
Yeah, looking at the road games for the Bills. The Bills, 41, 45.
I don't care how many they've scored, honestly. The McVay is too good of a strategist. The Bills are not. The market says the Bills aren't scoring 30. I do not think the Bills are scoring 30. What is the team total on the Bills? I mean, the team total on the Bills right now here is 27.5, heavily juiced to the under. I mean, so we don't have a lot of indoor examples, but let's just go through their road games. They allowed 10 points to the Dolphins. The Ravens destroy them. They allowed 23 to the Texans. They allowed 20 to the Jets. They allow 10 to the Seahawks. And they allow 20 to the Colts. I mean, you put that average line out, I mean, they're not going to allow 20. Moneyball says Bills score 30 on everybody. Why wouldn't you believe it? Bills are better than the Eagles. Because I believe in the market more than I believe in any man. That's why Moneyball.
The 44 numbers, though, is what's sticking in my head because I know, and let me just pull this back up, that 44 number.
We're sitting at 49.5.
What am I looking at? What am I looking at then?
I don't know. We have the 49.5. It's very high total.
Huh.
Moneyball, obviously, with the first thing we talked about was how they'd scored 30 or more points in 6 straight games. Why would the sharpest book in the land be offering you a 27.5 with no vig? Because this is exactly the type of spot where I'd want to fade the sentiment of the Bills going crazy offensively. Now, in saying all this, I'm not getting the conviction right now where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna show. Like, there's been games here where I have that conviction. Moneyball, I'm not. I've been thinking about it. I love unders in Rams games. I love unders with McVay, the strategist. I know he's getting as much as he can out of a young defense, one of the youngest defenses in the league that seems to be improving as the season goes on. I know that the only way to beat the Bills is to beat them in time of possession. I know that McVay knows that. I'm not saying that I bet this tonight, but I'm certainly interested in the under. And at this point, I think it's the only thing that I really want. I can understand why the public's on the Bills. I don't think this moves to 5. I think the most that happen with this will be just a juiced 4.5. Oh no, I know, Moneyball. Sorry, I don't mean to. Sometimes on these NFL shows, I've been grinding nonstop since 6:30 in the morning, putting together a worksheet. And I'm just like a little, I don't edit myself properly, and I get a little emotional just because I'm exhausted. I love capping with you, so don't feel like I took any offense or anything like that. Okay, I'm very, very interested in the under. At this point, do you want to move on from this game, Troy?
Yes, I do.
Let's move on. Next up for us, 4:25 p.m. Eastern, we have the Chicago Bears 4-8, 0-5 on the road at the San Francisco 49ers, 5-7, 3-3 at home at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. I've been so excited about capping this game with you. Our two teams in shambles playing against each other. 63 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 3-mile-per-hour winds. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have a total at 44. It's minus 114 to the over. It is moving to the over. There's been an 11-cent move to the over. No other book is doing that, by the way. Oh, there's one. There's one that's moved to 44.5, kind of a square book. And that moved to 44.5 this afternoon. So, but there's a lot of 44s out there, and they're all at a pick 'em. So the sharp, not including the one I just mentioned, but the sharp book that I use for line movement has moved this, pretty heavily. Has moved it to the over. Let's just leave it at that. From the spread, we have the San Francisco 49ers minus 3.5 at minus 110. This opened up minus 3.5 at minus 106. The look ahead was, of course, 6. So 3.5 minus 106 when it opens. So this is at 11:16 a.m. on Monday morning. And then by 11:24 a.m., 8 minutes later, there's been a 17-cent move to the San Francisco 49ers. Now that, in the end, turns out to be the high water mark. But those are the spots that I find extremely interesting. Like I got talked off of the Broncos because of the move from 6 to 5.5, and it's sitting there for 6 days. Then the public came in late, moved it back to 6 or 6.5. And I stayed off because I thought that was sharp money that initially was moving it towards the Browns. And the Browns realistically should have covered. And I'm fine staying off. I'm not fine leaving that money on the table, but I'm fine staying off of the spot. Here, I think that move to the 49ers initially is important. And even just looking in the chat, seeing Bears or pass, even that, and Aaron Gaza saying, how can we bet San Francisco? Even the sentiment coming from my colleagues, you guys in the chat, is now making the Niners more appealing. When a football team is in horrible situation and horrible things happening, losing, CMC Music Factory, losing Jordan Mason, playing in the worst conditions possible for the West Coast team, and everybody turning their back on them, that's when I start getting really interested in backing them. Let's go over the Bears first, though. Passing offense, 27th in the league, 190.1 yards per game. Rushing offense, 23rd at 109. Reds. And you know what? I never back my Niners. I do in the futures market and things like that, which I haven't done this year. But this is the type of situation that I find that I imagined once breaking this down that I would find very appealing to be on the 49ers. Passing offense 27th, 190.1 yards per game. Rushing offense 23rd, 109 yards per game. Red zone offense 3rd for the Bears. They're scoring touchdowns 66.7% of their red zone drives. Pretty impressive. But their third down offense has been a problem all year. 4th in the league, converting just 33.5% of the time. Their pass defense 11th, 209.4 yards per game. It's getting worse every game. Their rush defense 25th. They're allowing 135.1 yards per game. It's getting worse every single game statistically. Their red zone offense is still very good. 1st in the league at 40.9%, but their third down defense is 5th at 34.2%. Their defense being very good. So here we have the coach being fired angle. And it's a terrible thing in all situations except for this. In the NFL, you shouldn't fire your coach unless everybody has been sitting there saying, get this guy out of the facility. So this is a little different. Now, in saying all this, do we think Thomas Brown, who's never been, this guy was the passing game coordinator to start out before he was elevated to offensive coordinator. He's never been a head coach before. Do you think he's the guy? I mean, I don't. So let's roll here. Steve G says 3-0 Blues. I mean, I should have been on them. The Jets have 6 games in 10 days, come home for 24 hours, have to play again at home. What a horrible spot, but my focus is on NFL. So let's roll. The Bears coming off their 6th straight loss, 23-20 at Detroit on Thanksgiving. Had the ball in Lions territory, of course. We all watched it. They had the opportunity for a game-tying field goal or a go-ahead touchdown. There was 31 seconds left when Caleb Williams was sacked. They had the timeout, and they didn't use it. And if you can't be trusted in the most important situations in a football game, you should not be the coach of that football team. So it's important that Eberflus screwed up. It's good for you Bears fans in the long run. Get him out. He was 14-32 overall. Listen to this. This stat was, I'm sure you guys have read it, but 5-17 in games decided by 7 points or fewer. 5-17. That winning percentage of 22.7% is the worst in the history of the NFL. There's only 221 coaches that have coached at least 20 games that have been within one score, or said not one score, I mean 7 points. And that is, he is ranked 221st out of 221 coaches in that situation. But Thomas Brown comes in. It's a little different than Rizzi to me. Brown, I mean, the first thing I look, I'm like, this guy, I'm 7 years older than this guy who's going to come in now and be the coach of the Bears. When Rizzi was appointed, who'd never been a head coach in college or NFL, this was an old man who had earned the opportunity. Not the case here. Against the Lions, Caleb Williams was 20 of 39 for 256 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He also ran 4 times for 39 yards. DJ Moore caught 8 for 97 and a touchdown. Keenan Allen caught 5 for 73 and 2 touchdowns. Look, when Caleb Williams took that huge hit on the sidelines and he came back and he threw a touchdown pass right away, I started believing in the kid. And that's an easy thing to believe in when a guy takes a hit like that, doesn't miss a second, comes right on the field and fires a touchdown pass. DeAndre Swift ran 11 times for 39 yards, caught 2 passes for 35 yards. He's not an RB1. He's not the right running back for this football team. They struggled on 3rd and 4th down. They combined to go 7-17. They had just one opportunity in the red zone, which they cashed. Defense was strong versus a dangerous Lions offense. Held them in 2 of 5 in the red zone, 5 of 14 on 3rd down. But the pass rush is now not getting the job done week after week after looking good earlier in the season. Just 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hits. Rashawn Johnson left the game with concussion protocol. Ryan Bates, their guard's now in concussion protocol again. Sorry, because he missed last week because of concussion protocol. So he's not getting him. Jaquan Brisker's not coming back this year. So we can say goodbye to him. And now Elijah Hicks was out as well. Let's talk about the Niners because there's so many moving parts to this football game. Of course, we just talked about Eberflus being tired. Niners are 9th passing attack, 232.8 yards per game, and 7th rushing, 139.6. Now, with Isaac Guerrero at running back, I mean, I don't know if you can have faith in those numbers, but nobody thought Jordan Mason would be putting up the ridiculous numbers he put up. Red zone offense, 27th in the league. It's been a problem all year, 48.9%. Third down offense, 7th. They convert 43.2% of the time. That was the reason why I was on the under, was because of the long drives, and I missed it by a half point, but I got in live twice. Pass defense, 4th, 190 yards per game. Rush defense, 15th at 119.9. Their red zone defense and third down defense has been horrific all year because of the injuries they're dealing with. 31st red zone defense, 70.7, and third down defense, 26th, 44.2%. The 49ers coming off their 3rd straight loss, 35-10 at the Bills. This is it is all up to how you cap this game. Do you see this as the nice bet, buy low spot, buy extremely low spot, or do you think they are going to come home in front of their fans and play horrific? They were outscored 73-20 over their last 2 games. So yes, they lose Christian McCaffrey and Jordan Mason IR. McCaffrey with the PCL sprain, he's done for the year. It's not so bad though. Should recover in 6 weeks. Then we have Mason with the high ankle sprain. He was also put on IR. So it's Garendo time. Patrick Taylor will be promoted from the practice squad to back him up. Purdy was just 11 of 18 for 94 yards. He also lost a fumble. Kyle Juszczyk, Deebo Samuel also fumbled. Jawan Jennings led receivers with 3 catches for 56 yards. The offense had just 239 yards of offense, 1 of 3 in the red zone. The pass rush without Nick Bosa was completely invisible. Bosa missed a 2nd straight game due to hip and oblique injuries. I think he can come back here. We'll get a better idea tomorrow. The Niners couldn't get stops. Bills were 4 for 4 in the red zone. Jake Moody missed 2 or 3 field goals. He looks terrible. Trent Williams missed his 2nd straight game due to an ankle injury, and then it was released that him and his wife suffered a stillborn child. They'd already lost one of the twins, and now they have the stillborn child. And, as our thoughts are with the Williams family, if Trent Williams comes into that facility on Tuesday and Wednesday, you don't think they're going to rally around this man? Now, again, I don't know. We'll need to see what happens tomorrow, but I'm telling you what, if Trent Williams walks into that facility and they say he's going to play this week, how do you not think they're going to come together and play good football? Take it away, Troy. The floor is yours, my friend. Bears Niners.
Jimmy, you are the man. Finding little things like that are unquantifiable but matter when you're handicapping football games, especially when you know the market has a pretty significant advantage. The bookies have the edge on us. Any way we could find a little edge, I believe that to be a true edge. If he walks back in that foot and he's ready to play at home in front of their home fans, like you said, I don't think they're going to come out and lay an egg. They're going to give an inspired effort. And the Bears, I mean, you kind of touched on a lot of this, man. They made the coaching change that the fans have been waiting for over a year now. I feel like we are going to see an inspired effort from this Bears team to some extent. We've already seen the best version of this offense since they fired Waldron. I mean, there's so many things that they're doing that they weren't doing early in the season. The whole scheme is just way more compact and put together. A lot of the same looks, a lot more just easier reads. I mean, like I gave this example, and we've seen it again this past week. Instead of having Caleb look right to left across 3 different combinations of routes, they're only having him look at one side, and they might drop a crossing route that enters his field of vision as he's reading the one side of the field. They're simplifying it for him. I think it's given him a lot of confidence. I love what I've seen from the offense, and I do believe that with the right coach at the helm, that this team is going to contend for Super Bowls in the near future. I really believe it. I think they have some good pieces that they can keep the core guys intact. But one thing that they're missing defensively is they cannot defend the run inside the tackles. Dougie was talking about it. Billings, he's a defensive tackle. He's a nose guard. He plays the 1 and the 3 technique in this Bears defense. He plugs that middle of the field. Like when since he's been out, the run defense has been completely horrific. And it's because they cannot defend inside the tackles. But here's the problem with that. The 49ers run the ball inside the tackles at the 3rd lowest rate in the NFL. They like to run outside zone or an off tackle type of look where they give their athletes CMC and what used to be Mason. I know he's going to be out this week, but give their athletes space and ability to read, because their offensive line, you can't really count on this offensive line, especially without Trent. So there's a lot to like with this Bears team on offense. There's a little bit that I really don't like what I've seen lately out of this Bears defense. And Eberflus being a defensive mind, I'm not sure exactly how that impacts this Bears defense, but I do think we're going to see inspired effort out of this Bears team. I really do. The problem is, how can we back the Bears and sell low on this 49ers team? There's no way I'm going to be backing the Bears. I know a lot of the Bears fans are backing the Bears this week. I'm not going to be one of them. I think the number at -4 is strong. It's very strong in favor of the 49ers. And I think it looks like a snack to sharp bettors who think they're catching a good number on the Bears. This is just a spot where I value the open, like I talked about earlier, at this 3.5, between 3.5 and 4.5. I value the open more than the movement itself. I know we haven't seen any movement or very little movement, but if we close 3.5, this line moves. If we close 3, like there's going to be a lot of chance. There's a good chance I'll be on the 49ers.
Well, I'll tell you, if Trent Williams plays, I'm going to bet the 49ers.
Can you text me as soon as you find that out? Because you'll definitely know something like that before I.
Yeah, and you know what? I got a couple insiders for the Niners, and I will text them tonight. And so, I'll put that note here. If Trent Williams plays, the 49ers will win. Now, it's more than a field goal that they have to cover. So we'll see how it bangs out. But that is the single most important angle, I think, in this football game, which sounds wild, but I really do think that if Trent comes in after what he's just been through, they're going to rally, man. They're going to rally. All right, so I'm going to leave that total alone, but if Trent plays, Isaac's just going to run behind him. Isaac might be the player prop. We'll have to see what's up at, but it's all about Trent. All about Trent. All right, let's roll on here. So we've got lots to figure out. JRTG saying being at -4 does show strength towards San Francisco. I agree. A lot of people don't talk about that too when they go through that. A lot of people don't talk about it, and I don't know if he, it's all about what your wife wants to do or your girlfriend wants to do. Do they want to talk about it or do they not want to talk about it? She wanted to talk about it. She wanted to make it public. And there's nothing, it's one of the easiest things to rally around a friend going through something like that. And I don't mean the boy girl thing to be such a difference, but when you're a professional athlete and it's a boy, and that's hard to take, man. And they're going to rally around him. We'll have to see if he plays. We'll find out tomorrow pretty much. Let's roll on. Next up for us is the Sunday Nighter. You can catch us right here for that 8:20 p.m. Eastern, right here, our live stream. Los Angeles Chargers 8-4, 4-2 on the road. The Kansas City Chiefs 11-1, 6-0 at home. Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. 55 Fahrenheit, clear, 9 miles per hour. I mean, the books are just taking a bath now. Everybody joining in, fading the Chiefs. This last week was the first time that the Chiefs that over half the public was betting against the Chiefs.
Yep.
And we saw these two teams play in Los Angeles. That spread opened up at 7.5. It moved to 7. The Chiefs won by 7. So to come in here in Kansas City against a team that's 6-0 at home and now have won 11 of 12 games this year and have a 4, I mean, that is telling. Very, very, very telling. Troy, you've faded the Chiefs 6 straight games and cashed 6 straight games. I've only faded them 4 of the games. I wasn't on the Chiefs last week, but I stayed off just because, once the public is doing it too, I don't know if I want to keep doing it, but that was a mistake. You moved on it twice at 12.5 and at 12. It was impressive work. Let's get into the line history for the Sunday Nighter. We have the Chiefs -3.5 at -114. It's crazy. We see 4s across the book, but this opened up -3.5 at -106. I mean, that's just bananas. That's absolutely nuts. That it wasn't that long ago. They played in LA and the Chiefs were 7.5 down to 7. Now they're 3.5 at home. And where are the losses? I mean, it's just absolutely wild and so much fun to talk about. This also got up to -3.5, -121, 11:30 yesterday morning. Now it's just -3.5, -114. Now you do see 4s across the board. Let's get to the total here in this one. From a total perspective, that's a 42.5. Opened up at 43.5. We have a 1-point move to the under. I certainly thought about the under today, but I thought it was better to talk this one out than to come in with action. Let's get to the cash flow here for our Sunday Nighter. We have 68% of tickets and 87% of the cash on the Chargers. mean, now this is a little much, Troy. A little much now.
Sir.
I mean, we were getting paid in full when there was 15% of the tickets and 20% of cash, and the whole chat was saying, "You guys are so stupid. Why are you fading the Chiefs? What are you doing?" That was very appealing. Now everybody wants in on this fade the Chiefs cash. We have 65% of tickets and 88% cash on the over, and this is dropped. Let's roll here. Chargers passing offense 24th in the league, 198.4 yards per game. They put up rushing offense 18th at 112.9. Now we saw this rushing offense without J.K. Dobbins. Now they don't trust Gus. Now the Gus's numbers were fine, but he only ran, I think, 6 times. I'll go over that number. But J.K. Dobbins is a big loss. Red zone offense 21st. They cash 53.3% time. Third down offense 18th. They convert 37.7% of the time. Pass defense is 10th. They allow 206.4 yards per game. Rush defense 14th at 119.4. Red zone defense 3rd in the league. They only allow touchdowns 42.9% of the time in the red zone. Very nice numbers. And their third down defense 2nd in the league. They only allow conversions 33.3% of the time. Chargers coming off a very underwhelming 17-13 victory at Atlanta. They were outgained 350 to 187 in the victory. They had 2 first downs in the second half. They won despite not scoring an offensive touchdown. Herbert was 16 of 23 for 147 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Ladd McConkey, 9 catches for 117 yards. He left the game with a knee injury. Harbaugh said McConkey's working through a couple things, and they don't expect him to practice this week. So he's not going to practice. So he's going to be questionable come Sunday. So they need McConkey. McConkey had 9 catches for 117 yards. There was only 30 other yards receiving from the rest of the football team. Quentin Johnston, Joshua Palmer, DJ Shark, Jalen Reagor, Darius Davis. Gus Edwards ran 6 times for 32 yards. They were just 3 of 11 on third down, 0 of 2 in the red zone. The secondary was excellent. Tarheeb Still, 5th-round pick out of Maryland last year in the draft. Rookie year, 2 interceptions, ran 1 back, 66 yards for an interception. Derwin James had an interception, and Marcus May had an interception. He was just picked up off of waivers last week. Pass rush was quiet, 1 sack, 4 quarterback hits, held the Falcons to 3 of 14 on third down, 1 of 4 in the red zone. Talk about these Chiefs. Passing offense 12th, 229.8 yards per game. Rushing offense 19th, 111.8. Red zone offense 24th, 52.1% of the time. They score touchdowns. That's not very good. Their third down offense, though, is the best in the league. They convert third downs 51.8% of the time. Passing defense 23rd. They allow 224.1 yards through the air. Not very good. Rush defense strong, 3rd, 87.8. Red zone defense 10th. They allow touchdowns 51.3% of the time. Third down defense 18th. They allow conversions 39.5% of the time. They're coming off of yet another ugly last second victory, defeating the Raiders 19-17 in Kansas City. Of course, you guys saw it was wild. Las Vegas drove within range of the winning field goal, 15 seconds left. They botched the snap and game over. Chiefs win 14 consecutive 1-possession games they've won. That's extending their NFL record. Outgained 434 to 329 in the victory. So that means the Raiders put up 105 more yards than them. Mahomes 26 of 46 for 306 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. DeAndre Hopkins caught 4 for 90, but a couple drops that were bad. Kelsey caught 7 for 68. Pacheco returned to the lineup, picked up where he left off, 44 yards on 7 carries, caught a 5-yard pass. They only put up 4.9 yards per play. They allowed the Raiders to put up 6.9 yards per play. Chiefs' 24th ranked red zone offense was just 1 for 5 versus the Raiders. It's a problem. The defense bent but didn't break. Held the Raiders 3-12 on third down, 0-1 in the red zone. Pass rush finished with 3 sacks, 4 quarterback hits. Chris Jones had 2 sacks. He'd not had 1 in 7 games. So it was big, important for him to get a couple. Take it away here, Troy, because I am starting to lean to the Kansas City Chiefs, and want to hear your breakdown. Take it away, Chargers Chiefs.
That makes a lot of sense to lean towards the Chiefs in this spot. I think that the value is starting to dissipate in fading this Chiefs team. I think it's obvious and clear by what we're looking at in this market. I do expect a tightly contested game. But I do think that this, from a side perspective, is just a better opportunity to learn. I mean, you know I've been looking to fade both these teams, even the Chargers. I talked about they're beneficiaries of a weak strength of schedule. They have a lack of weapons on offense. They're getting thinner, too, on offense with McConkey and the running back situation. The defense that is starting to look vulnerable against competent offenses. So where do you put the Chiefs? Are they in the competent offense category? I mean, sure, if you're talking about the last possession of the game and you need 3 points, Mahomes is going to be able to go down there and get it for you. But we've been fading this Chiefs team for way too long. Every single week I've talked about it. It's a mediocre football team. They're terrible at the tackle position. The defense is starting to show their vulnerabilities, and Mahomes is having the worst year of his career. These are facts. This is a mediocre football team. So I think the number right now where it currently sits as home favorites on prime time makes a lot of sense to me. I don't want to get involved in the side, but I have a plethora of metrics and database support on the under in this situation. Particularly on prime time, it's an undefeated trend. But any way you want to look at it, Chiefs at home, market moving towards the under. Chargers on the road, market moving towards the under. The history of these two teams against each other, unders. And I'm on the under. I moved on the under 43 as you were giving your breakdown. I spent some time in the database on this one because I want. One of the first things I do every week is look to fade the fade the Chiefs. I can't do it this week. Maybe I do get there, to be honest, because I do still see some support for the Chargers in this sample. But I think the under is a better play. I'm on the under 43 at -110.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I'm going to end up on the Chiefs here. I think I'm going to end up on the Chiefs. I think I did not plan on doing it. It's just talking this out. I mean, it was cool for the first time in this run to fade the Chiefs last week, and you guys all got paid. Now it's the coolest thing ever. Now everybody in the smoke hole's talking about it. You're not on them. You're not on the Chargers here.
No, I don't think I'm really going to be able to get there.
Ron Crawford says, "Be careful, Jimmy." Ron, look, I hear you. I mean, but Ron, psychologically, right? You were on the Chiefs last week, Ron, and they burnt you. So you're worried for me that I'm going to get burnt. Like, I can explain psychologically, the only reason why I didn't send in my dad's bet on the Falcons when I knew it was a sharp side was because psychologically he was only making the bet because he didn't make it the week against the Ravens, and he was trying to make up for it by reaching. When I can explain things psychologically, it makes it much more appealing to be on it. Right now, 9 of 10 tickets are on the Chargers. It's not cool anymore, man. It's not cool anymore, man. I want the Chiefs. I don't know if I get there. I'm very interested. And then the under makes a lot of sense because, look, the Chargers offense is not very good here. Without J.K. Dobbins. We saw it last week. It's not, they don't trust Gus because of how bad Gus looked against the Ravens. So
it's time to fade the Chargers. Like, the Chargers are in the fadeable range right now. This is where you want to fade the Chargers. And honestly, based on the market, we're looking at market lows on the Chiefs right now. It's time to buy the Chiefs, but I'm not doing that.
I think I do it.
Because right now, I mean, what they're saying right now is that the Chiefs are a little bit above average. And I think that's giving them a little too much credit still.
I think they're saying they're much better than that because this is an 8-4 Chargers team coming in, and they're still over a field goal favorite. They're better than average. Chargers are 4-2 on the road, 8-4 on the season.
Not with their current state. Not with McConkey's status in question. I mean, you lose Dobbins and McConkey. This offense is.
I think it's time. Jared TG says there are not many good spots on the card this week. I'm not forcing plays to give me money back. I'm the opposite right now. I wasn't sure how many spots there would be on this card. I'm starting to see a ton. So I'm starting to get bullish here. Ron knows the Chiefs better than any team, or that's his team. They're his boys. So I will message Ron before I bet the Chiefs. I'm also curious to see what happens with this line. Again, sorry, and my fault. I said that 9 out of 10 tickets are on the Chargers. That was wrong. 7 out of 10 tickets are on the Chargers. It's 8.7 of every $10 is on the Chargers. So that was
Here,
wrong.
let me give you a number. What's the most amount of bets ever on? Oh, look at this. Look at this. The most amount of bets in a divisional matchup that were ever fading the Chiefs was the Chargers game. This was in the year 2023. So last year, week 7, Chargers-Chiefs. Chiefs were laying 6 points at home. 75% of the bets were on the Chargers. Chiefs win by 14.
Yeah,
that's strong. That's strong to me right there. That is pretty strong.
I'm not pushing.
Chiefs 3-0 ATS at home over the past 3 seasons when 60% of the bets are on the road team. See if we open this up to 50. Okay, 50. Now you're looking at a 50-50 proposition, but all these covers, 4 of the covers are 10 points or more. So,
yeah, this is now the time to back the Chiefs. Now, everybody now and their mama thinking it's cool to fade the Chiefs. This is
the Chiefs at home when 50% or more of the bets are on the road team, 8-1 to the under.
And Ron's right. Herbert has won at Arrowhead. Jim W. Putt says Herbert's playing better than Mahomes. I don't. It's not Mahomes that's letting. I mean, there was a couple incredible plays by Mahomes, like one that Hopkins dropped, where it's like, come on, you got to help out your quarterback. This is very, very, very interesting, and I don't know if I move on it tonight, but I want that 3.5. I mean, like this line's moving towards the Chiefs right now.
Yeah, it is.
North Ender says this one's personal for him. He's going to hear all week how Herbert wins at Arrowhead. So North Ender. Okay, this is fascinating. So many spots have jumped out at me. And I love talking Chiefs football with Ron Crawford. Again, Ron Crawford swept the board on NFL Pub Hub this week. Love to see it. Need him on the show this week. Now in the top 5.
Chiefs at home. Market moving towards the Chiefs. 4-0 to the under. In division, 2-0 to the under. I love it. I love it.
Let's move on to the Monday Nighter. Monday, December 9th, 8:15 p.m. Eastern. The Cincinnati Bengals 4-8, 3-3 on the road. Dallas Cowboys 5-7, 1-5 at home. AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Let's get into the line history here. This total is climbing. Opened up at 47.5. Within 45 minutes, it had moved 14 cents towards the over. Within 56 minutes of the line being dropped, it moved up a full point. Within, I guess now we're talking 14 hours, it had moved up to 49.5. We get up to 50.5, and then we see our buyback for the first time. The 50.5, since it's moved there, has gone 11 cents to the under, and we don't see 50.5s anywhere else. There are a couple 50s, but mostly 49.5s. But this is obviously climbing and climbing quickly. And why wouldn't it be after watching this Bengals defense? From a spread perspective here, we have the Bengals -5. So there was another half-point move this morning. This opened up at 6. We've had a 1-point move towards the Dallas Cowboys. Let's get to the cash flow for our Monday Nighter. We have 64% of the tickets and 88% of cash on the Bengals, which is what I thought of doing immediately. So I can understand why the public's doing it. And the line's moving away from that. Against them. 53% of tickets and 85% of cash on the over. I don't need to say the same thing every single week. You know that the Bengals aren't putting out max effort for Zach Taylor. Their superstar wide receivers do tend to show up on the standalone spotlight games because they know that they want a big contract in the offseason. Burrow is playing phenomenally well, and this team won't make the playoffs. We saw Hendrickson slap Zach Taylor's hand out of the way 2 weeks ago. They're not trying. Passing offense first in the league, 264.3 yards per game. Rushing offense 27th at 91.7. I'm a little disappointed with Chase Brown. Red zone offense second in the league. They score touchdowns 71.1% of the time. Third down offense 5th. They convert 45.5% of the time. Their passing defense 27th They allow 241 yards per game through the air, and the rush defense 22nd, 128 yards per game on the ground. Red zone defense, third worst in the league. They allow touchdowns 68.4% of the time, and their third down defense, fifth worst in the league. They allow conversions 44.4% of the time. We have the Bengals coming off their fourth loss in 5 games, falling 44-38 at home to the Steelers, now 1-5 at home. They've now allowed 34 or more points in 6 of 12 games this year. They allowed the Steelers to put up 520 yards at 7.9 yards per play. Pass rush had 2 sacks, 9 quarterback hits, but the Steelers could get whatever they wanted. Cam Taylor-Britt returned a pick, 51 yards to the house, but nothing else good happened. The excellent Bengal offense can't make up for how bad the defense is. Burrow was 28 of 38 for 309 yards, 3 touchdowns in the pick. He also lost 2 fumbles. Jamar Chase had 6 catches for 86 yards and a touchdown. T. Higgins caught 5 for 69 yards and a touchdown. They went 4 of 9 on third down and 4 of 5 in the red zone. Jim W. Putt says this line's way off. Should be maybe Cincy -1.5. Interesting. That's not what I thought. And Truth Teller says Bengals money line to cap some parlays. See, I was thinking of the double result, but I needed to hear what Troy said because I was watching what Troy was going to say because I watched this number go through the 6. Moneyball giving us final score 28-20 or 28-20.
And Jimmy, you know what I'm going to say then.
I know what you're going to say. Yeah, I know what you're going to say. Let's talk about the Cowboys. Their passing offense is 7th in the league with yards, 236.8 per game. Now, passing offense has kind of exploded over the last few weeks. Not talking about the Cowboys, I mean in the NFL. The yards have gone way up over the last little while. I'm sure you guys have seen it. The Cooper Rush Cowboys over the last 3 games are throwing 253.3 yards per game. They're averaging more yards per game with Cooper Rush at quarterback than with Dak Prescott. And that 253.3 is just 9th because there's a ton of teams throwing the ball well through the air right now. Rushing offense, second worst at 85.8, but you have Rico Dowdle coming off his first 100-yard game, put up 112, getting some confidence. Red zone offense, second worst in the league at 43.8. Third down offense, 24th, 35.4%. Their passing defense, 13th. They allow 212.1 yards per game through the air. Rush defense, second worst, allowing 147.6. Red zone defense is the worst in the NFL. They allow touchdowns 76.9% of the time. Their third down defense is 6th. They allow conversions 34.3% of the time. It's been pretty good. They come off extra rest after winning their second straight game, 27-20 at home over the Giants on Thanksgiving Thursday. Cooper Rush, 21 of 36 for 195 yards and a touchdown. 2-2 now as a starter, filling in for Prescott. 7-3 in his career. Kevontae Turpin caught 4 for 53. Rico ran 22 times for 112 yards. I said that already. Cowboys went 7-15 on third down, 2 of 4 in the red zone. Pass rush looked excellent. 6 sacks and 14 quarterback hits. The defense held the Giants to just 4.2 yards per game and 3 of 12 on third down, but they are the Giants. And they also allowed the Giants to go 2 for 2, perfect 2 for 2 in the red zone because they're the worst red zone team in the league. DeMarvion Overshown, another giant game, 9 tackles and interception. He returned 23 yards to the house, but more injuries. Juwanier Thomas carted off with the right knee injury. We're not sure the extent of it, but it's not good. But he's a special teamer. Cornerback Josh Butler also has a knee injury. We'll get a better idea tomorrow. Tyler Guyton left in the first half with ankle and knee injuries, but he was replaced by Chuma Edoga, who made a season debut. Guyton has a high ankle sprain, so Edoga is going to be at left tackle. DeMarcus Lawrence is coming back. He's going to come back and practice. He's not going to play this week. Had the midfoot right sprain in the midfoot during week 4 win over the Giants. So he's been sidelined for 8 games. So he's going to start practicing. They expect to open up the window, but don't think he's going to play here. Then we have Trayvon Diggs. McCarthy thinks he's going to play. So thinks he's going to be available. That's a big deal. He's missed the last 2 games with the groin injury.
Who is that, Jimmy?
That is Trayvon Diggs.
Trayvon Diggs. Huge deal in this match.
Huge deal. Now, again, we need the injury report, the Wednesday injury report, to confirm these things, but there's more. Zach Martin is expected to play. He's missed the last 2 games with ankle and shoulder injuries. We already talked about Guyton, who has only become so important, as a young guy, just because they didn't have Zach Martin. Zach Martin is expected to play, so he's missed 2 straight games. Jake Ferguson is not at this point. Now, again, we'll know right away if he's practicing because since he suffered that concussion in week 11 against the Texans, he's not practiced once. So we're not even starting this 5-step protocol. So it's going to be Schoonmaker and Spanford at this point. But again, we'll get that information here on tomorrow's injury report. Ron Crawford says, since he play in that system, take it away for us here, Troy, our Monday nighter, Bengals Cowboys.
I mean, this one is pretty dang easy for me. What kind of effort are we going to get from this Bengals defense? How much does this Bengals offense care? Is it all individualism now at this point, trying to show out for their own personal gains? And I think that's exactly what we're going to see. I don't think that these guys care very much. And we know, you talked about it, the market for me is about as bullish as it can get. Now, I know we haven't closed below the 6 quite yet. It's a long time until Sunday. Things can change, but I've seen enough for it to move on. I moved on this at 6 plus minus 120. So I got the home dog plus 6. And let me tell you why. I talked about this last week in 2 games, and both of them covered. It was the Panthers and it was the Jaguars. Home dogs that open at 6 or more, and the line closes below the 6 are 11-4 ATS. The total is also moving to the over in that sample, which we see here. The total's flying to the over. The home team is 8-0 ATS. We've seen Cooper Rush beat this Bengals team 2 years ago, and it was a much better Bengals team. Now, I know it's pretty much the same matchup in that case because the Cowboys are a much worse version of that Cowboys team 2 years ago. So to me, I think that there's enough right there alone to move on the Cowboys with pretty much with confidence.
Huh.
And here's some more things that I've noticed in this matchup. Joe Burrow throws underneath passes of 10 yards or less at the highest rate in the NFL. The Cowboys defense is strongest against passes of 10 yards or shorter. I guess that's their strongest element of their pass defense. They have a good pass rush, so if they want to drop back and start ripping it downfield, that's okay because Micah Parsons is going to be able to get home and create some turnovers, create some variance in that aspect. And we also know Diggs is coming back. If Diggs is going to be back in the lineup, we have more confidence in the secondary. Yeah, I think it's a good spot to be on the Cowboys, especially in prime time. That's another thing. In prime time, in this price range, high total. Home teams not only cover, they're live on the money line.
It's a extremely interesting situation. Another thing, though, that I don't think I helped when I talked about Ron Crawford's system, that the Bengals system, this is it. It's home team off a loss, straight up at home as a favorite, the Bengals. On the road, straight off loss at home as a favorite. Now on the road, play on 17-5 against the spread. That being the Bengals, but this line through 6 is very, very, very interesting. The injury report is going to be important. I think that 6 was a steal. I imagine if they announce Trayvon Diggs is in, and that Zach Martin is in.
Yeah, Moneyball, I agree with what you're saying. Dallas isn't the same Dallas version that we've seen 2 years ago when Cooper Rush beat the Bengals, but this market is the same market that we've seen now in an 8-0 sample. The last 8 times the home dog moved from over 6 or 6 or more to below the 6, they've covered the spread, and they're very live on the money line in all the circumstances. Who wants to back the Jaguars, the freaking Panthers, these terrible teams that this type of market happens to? Nobody. But you would if you were looking at what I look at in that sample. You would if you knew you're going to put some money in your pocket in the long run.
Wow. Absolutely wild. Very, very interesting spot. Cowboys plus 6 at minus 120 for Troy. I'm going to have to sit with this. Ron Crawford liking the over best in this spot. That is our Monday nighter. And again,
a spot, I'm on the Cowboys team total as well. I mean, that's what I played last week in the same situation. And I'm seeing it right now, this entire sample, every single one of this sample I'm looking at right now over their team total.
It makes sense. For those of you who are members of Pub Sports Radio, I implore you to join us on Thursday for the Cappers Contest show. We're doing real good work. 37-27 in the Circa Millions, and going over all these games a second time after letting it marinate for 36 hours is extremely helpful, about 40 hours or so. It's extremely helpful. Let's review all action here. And Ron Crawford says next week, Baltimore minus 13.5 at the New York Giants. Troy and I went 27 and 12 last week combined, plus 14.26 units. Now that was mostly Troy, who went 20 and 8 plus 11.7 units. Let's go over action here. Troy gets his card started with the -3 on the Lions. I'm very interested in betting this under 51.5, and I expect to move on that tonight.
I expect to as well, Jim, to be honest. I'll have to do a little bit more work here.
Mm-hmm. And then the Titans. I've become bullish after that breakdown on the Titans. The question is, do I want to double up on it? I'm not sure. I could just take the double result, which I imagine will be a plus money situation. But after capping with you guys, I became quite bullish on the Titans. The Dolphins double result. Mel is on. Mel is a great capper, and I trust what she is moving on. But I'm going to sit with that. I don't know if I move on that tonight. I might need to sit with that for a little bit longer. Then the Falcons. I'm just going to go ahead and move on the Falcons here. I don't think it's sixes across the board. I think Falcons are the move in that one, and I think I need to move on it before Stephon Gilmore is announced out. Again, remember Kevin O'Connell. These are the lines that you have to really stick with when the coach says, "Looks like we've avoided a longer term injury." Oh, well, that means he's not going to be ready to go in 4 days. Then Troy on the Giants +5 at -108. I'm very interested in the under. I want to know how high it is going to go.
Which one was that?
That is the Saints Giants. Then we move on to I'm on the Panthers +13 at -115. Can't wait for this football game. And I have some interest in Chuba Hubbard as well here, even against a great Eagles defense, run defense. Brown Steelers is one of, we've got a lot of action on this card. I think a lot of things opened up for me, but that's the one game that we've not moved on. The over in Raiders Tampa, I'm going to bet that tonight. I'm already on the Raiders +6.5. Troy on the Bucks -6.5. It's going to be a fun one throughout the week, watching where the line goes. I already moved on the under 44.5 and the Cardinals -2.5. Troy has joined me. Cardinals -2.5 and the under 44.5. Then I'm going to move. I expect to move on the under in the Bills-Rams game tonight. Expect to move on that tonight. Then, again, if Trent Williams plays, I will be on the 49ers. If Trent Williams plays, I may be on the 49ers double result as well. I'm going
Keep me in the loop, Jimmy.
I will for sure. And I'm going to send those texts out to the 49ers insiders I'm friends with. And then the Chiefs have become a look. Now, again, I'm going to have to sit with this for a little while. I don't know if I move on at time. Maybe I do, but I don't know if I do. And then the under 43, Troy's already moved on in Chargers Chiefs. And I have to decide whether I move on that at 42.5 or pay for the 43. And then Troy's on the Cowboys +6 at -120. Those sixes are gone. It's a nice job getting it. And I've got to spend more time with that game. There you go. Bankroll Blitz, Tuesday, December 3rd. I tell you, I'm enjoying this more and more and more and more. I find the work that needs to be done is not enjoyable. It's not getting easier. It's painstaking. But once it's done, like once I'm almost done, I'm like, oh God, I can't wait to talk these games out. And now, once you've put in all that work, now you get the fruits of your labor. Now you can sit back and let things marinate. Now you can watch the market and see the cash. What do you want to add? What are you concerned about? Like now is why we are succeeding in the season, is because of all of the work that we put in. So I'm very, very thankful. I'm so thankful to have the opportunity to work with you, Troy, year 2. I truly feel like we are on the right track and this is working. And it's working because of you guys in the chat. You bring up such interesting points, but you also inspire us to work harder and you bring levity when it's needed. And I know this is of all my shows in my lifetime, the NFL show is the least humorous. There's almost no laughs because it's just so intense and the stakes are so high and we need this money. But thank you guys. North Ender, Slatsy, Harold Williams, Ronnie Crawford, Blue Numbers, 2-3, Moneyball, Jim W. Putt, Mel, Vikes for life, Big Show picks. Big Show says, please join us at the pub following Bankroll Blitz. We have the Locker Room Talk podcast live at 11. So it's live right now. It's premiering. The show is premiering right now. Jump over to our guys, the Locker Room Talk podcast. That's the number one show on our channel. Please support it. NFL play of the day for Ron Crawford is the Detroit Lions -3.5 for Ronnie Crawford. Thank you for sharing that with us, Ron. That is copied and pasted. We'll be discussing that all week. Spenny Penny Bombs, Wager Detective. What a great group. Jim W. Putt, The Truth Teller, D. Jenkins, Abra Cat, Dadbra. Thank you. Dougie Y, Spenny Penny Bombs. What a great group. Aaron Gaza. Thank you guys. Jared TG. Just a group I'm very thankful to cap with. Let's go get that cash. Thank you to Jose Bouquet, working tirelessly behind the scenes, doing a hell of a job. Thank you for all that you do for us, Jose, my friend. Troy, take us home. Last words, my friend.
Now it's time for me to go lay down in my bed, stare at the ceiling with all the lights off, and just think about everything we just discussed for the next 3 or 4 hours, because coming off this show, it's a high, Jimmy. I mean, God damn it. I believe in our relationship. I believe in Bankroll Blitz. I believe in the Pub Sports Radio community. I say it every week. It's the best damn community in the industry. A lot of action to come. Follow us. Follow me on Twitter. I'm going to be posting my action as we go. I got 8 plays right now, but by the end of the week, I'm going to have around the 20 mark. So follow me there. Follow Bankroll Blitz. Follow Pub Sports Radio. It's a damn family. It's a damn movement. So